In a chaotic space, a swarm of grotesque creatures was frantically lunging forward to destroy everything in their path. Their sortie suddenly ended abruptly by a swift strike from Jinwoo Kim, the great mage from Earth summoned to this danger who showed no mercy. Seeing himself surrounded, he put on a grave expression. Finally, he couldn't help but sigh in exasperation. Jinwoo Kim cast a protective barrier around the city behind him, so he could face the filthy monsters and this hateful invasive corruption directly. This place, the planet Arsalan, was slowly but surely being consumed. It was eating into the land and creeping closer, saying that about 90% of Arsalan's territory had been destroyed by the invasion would not be an exaggeration. Thanks to the magical barrier developed by Jinwoo Kim, only a few surviving kingdoms were trying to cling to existence. The barrier's power source, the pure mana crystals, was gradually depleting so it wouldn't hold much longer, at most about 3 years. The day the barrier vanished, Arsalan would surely be doomed. The invasion that had been temporarily halted would resume, and countless monsters would slaughter the remaining lives. That disheartening truth made Jinwoo Kim inwardly resentful. It was so hard to be summoned to another world only for it to end in destruction. Suddenly Tiras appeared behind him and addressed him seriously, as the Lord of the Demon Tower and the immortal Archmage. Lord Jinwoo Kim, glorious Lord of Rainsword. He didn't want to hear such pointless titles, so he cleared his throat and cut in. Drop those flowery names. The world is already like this. What use are they? Tiras nodded obediently and replied gently. Yes, master, I have told people many times, directly confronting the invasion outside is very dangerous. His concern did nothing to please Jinwoo Kim. Instead, he showed his displeasure. Just arrived and already nagging, what's the matter? She paid no heed to his tone and answered calmly. The summons has been issued, even those in seclusion like master were called. It seems extremely serious. Jinwoo Kim looked at the monsters held back outside the barrier and sighed wearily. Probably, but I have no special solution. Tiras, sensing her master's feelings, spoke frankly. Still, the only one who can move freely in the invaded lands is master, so they must be desperate. The brief conversation was full of vital information that plunged Jinwoo Kim into silence almost immediately. The natives of Arsalan couldn't survive long in the invaded lands. No matter how strong, even their souls would be shaken there. But only someone like him from another world was immune to the invasion. Yes, only an otherworlder like himself. His soul differed from the people of Arsalan, unaffected by the invasion and able to convert invasive power into soul power to become even stronger. After a quick flashback, Jinwoo Kim regained his wits and asked, "What can I do alone unless I have an army of 1,000,000? Tiras, anticipating this question, answered immediately. Aside from Master, if anyone else is immune to the invasion, it would have to be a hero of legend. Then I'm reporting again that I won't participate, she said. He stared at the chaotic space beyond the barrier and replied heavily. As Tiras turned to leave, she suddenly recalled something and warned him. Don't overdo it just because you can resurrect if you die. Having a new body doesn't mean you should exhaust yourself. If you go out into the invaded area again, next time I'll remake your new body into a handsome young man. A pretty young woman wouldn't be so bad either. The seemingly casual remark made Jinwoo Kim break out in goosebumps. Her taste was really something. Unfortunately, his next words were cut off by Tiras's final reminder before she left. Anyway, please rest well. Having privacy back made Jinwoo Kim mutter angrily to himself. On Earth, he was dosed with Americano to work insane overtime. And on Arsalan, he built the Demon Tower to fight the invasion fiercely. Thinking back, I never once got a proper rest. This barrier will break in 3 years due to depleted mana crystals, and then the world will be destroyed. The heavy thought made Jinwoo Kim sigh in despair. Now I just want to let everything go and rest. Suddenly, from the pitch-black sky above Jinwoo Kim, a number of strange beams of light fell down. For some reason, they converged right above Jinwoo Kim's hand, startling him. What is this light? Before he could understand what was happening, the strange energy gathering on his hand released itself, forming a gigantic column of light that enveloped his whole body. Jinwoo Kim heard the sound of earth and rock breaking around him, but was still stunned by the scene unfolding. He looked at the strange energies surrounding him in confusion while his mind raced. I feel the power of an absolute authority. My soul has awakened into a transcendent. Despite decades of effort without success, could it be that letting go of all distractions is the way to reach it? As if to prove that thought true, Jinwoo Kim quickly reached his hand forward in rare anticipation. Let's see. Unexpectedly, he barely needed force, yet produced a pitch-black soul gate, or rather an advanced soul gate. a portal linking to the soul's homeland that can be maintained continuously and traversed in spirit form. For some reason, Jinwoo Kim's soul detached from his body, and he focused only on the new information. A soul gate can be crossed in spirit form. As the final line of info appeared, it said magic can be cast through the soul gate, and matter can be transported depending on the gate's size. Having absorbed what he needed, Jinwoo Kim quickly dove into the gate. First, I'll just try it out. The moment he vanished from that world, a miraculous light shone from the soul gate. Who knows how much time passed? Jinwoo Kim slowly opened his eyes and realized he had been transported to Earth. He glanced around at the surroundings before murmuring slowly, "Has it been 100 years already? 100 years have passed, but there seems to be no time discrepancy from when I fell into the other world. Even smartphones aren't much different. Are the dimensions completely separated, or did I travel back in time?" That thought made Jinwoo Kim rush off in some direction. If so, then my home. Unfortunately, his hope quickly collapsed when Jinwoo Kim saw the strange sight before him. A wave of despair rose so fast he forgot to breathe. A strange building. Indeed, it was gone. Perhaps the existence named Jinwoo Kim had been erased completely, all traces gone. It's a bit sad to think about. But wait, mana density on Earth is very low. If I stay a soul too long, I might dissipate. First, I must find a body without a soul. Suddenly thrust into desperation, Jinwoo Kim sped through the air to save himself. After who knows how long, he abruptly froze when he smelled something. Jinwoo Kim's eyes quickly turned to an expensive house in the distance. He sensed something from that mansion. Curiosity mixed with a faint hope let him immediately change flight direction and check it out. Unexpectedly, the moment Kim Jinwoo flew into the house, he was stunned by the sight before him. Whether fate had led him there or not, he saw a man with a face identical to his lying on a hospital bed. The life monitor beeps kept sounding steadily, making the room feel oppressively tense. As sobbing began to echo through the space, Sun Hai tried not to let the family's grief affect her as she delivered the final announcement. "I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. We did everything we could, but there's nothing more to be done." Oh-sung couldn't hold back and screamed, "This can't be, Jinwoo. How could you leave this man and go?" The absurd scene made Kim Jinwoo ponder. The room is full of medical equipment, but who is this man that gives off such an imposing aura? Then in the next instant, he was jolted as old memories had their seals lifted. This man was Lee Jinwoo, the youngest grandson of Chairman Lee's conglomerate, head of the financial elite, a prodigy who earned multiple doctorates at prestigious foreign universities. He was known to be frail, so this is why he's bedridden. But this wasn't merely poor health. He was clinically dead, his soul absent, and in a few hours his breath would stop entirely. "Sorry, but this just so happens to be the body I need, so let me borrow it briefly. The names are similar. It's perfect for possession, with my magic restoring this body in an instant." Kim Jinwoo hurriedly cultivated his inner power to perform the possession before it became too late. The transfer took only a few seconds. Kim Jinwoo's hovering soul quickly merged into Lee Jinwoo's emaciated body. Minutes later, he slowly opened his eyes and sat up. As Kim Jinwoo sat up, inwardly sighing with relief, success, Lee Jinwoo's relatives were astonished at this medical miracle. Mr. Lee was the first to speak. "Jinwoo, how is this possible?" Trembling before he could process the truth, he lunged at his beloved grandson. "Oh my God, I thought all hope was lost. This isn't a dream, right?" While Kim Jinwoo, still bewildered, blurted out, "Huh." Almost immediately everyone in the room rushed to him, including the attending doctor. "Oh heavens, our Jinwoo, this is truly a miracle, thank the gods. Are you okay? Are you feeling any discomfort?" Kim Jinwoo awkwardly answered honestly, "Right now I do feel uncomfortable." Oh-sung, out of love for his grandson, shouted seriously while gripping him tightly, "What are you kids doing? Didn't you hear Jinwoo say he's uncomfortable? Get back now." After who knows how long, Kim Jinwoo finally had a private moment to lie down and breathe on the bed. After enduring so much commotion, he was tired and lost in thought. Truly a noisy, hectic family. It's exhausting. From their perspective, the youngest returning from death justifies such reactions. But this isn't bad, rich and harmonious too. Living a life like this here wouldn't be so bad. Suddenly his brows knitted tightly as his mind recalled the crucial issue. But even at this moment, Arsalan was approaching the brink of destruction. Is there truly no way to save Arsalan from the invasion? A way to destroy the invasion core that continuously spawns those monsters? Would using tanks or armored vehicles be effective? No, even nuclear bombs would likely be useless, let alone armored forces. Because if you can't destroy the core deep inside, the monsters will keep resurrecting. And to begin with, is transporting such weapons there even feasible? No matter how I think about it, I still haven't found a satisfactory solution. Failing to find an optimal path drove Kim Jinwoo to the game console for an immediate break. Play some games to relax a bit. He powered the machine on so the game would appear on the intro screen. In this moment, Kim Jinwoo's heart found a bit of peace after long-term exhaustion. It's been a while since I played this. Legend of the Sacred Dragon VII. A title even a notoriously picky game director like my past life self-praised, though it uses the familiar plot of becoming a hero and gathering teammates to save the world. Its story is incredibly compelling. A hero, if only Arslan had other heroes besides me. If there were millions rather than just one or two, the territories would be quickly reclaimed from the invasion. Suddenly the game announced, Hero Linka has received the summoning formation for a mage and obtained a 5-star SSR teammate. Do you want to summon a second hero? Without much thought, Kim Jinwoo tapped yes to summon immediately. That unconscious action made him freeze abruptly. Before he could cheer while the console tumbled to the floor, right. Summon a hero, summon an Earth hero. Kim Jinwoo's genius mind lit up with excitement. Summon people from Earth through the Soul Gate, then make them think Arslan is just a game world. By crafting an engaging storyline, I can guide them to clear out the invasion. If people from Earth, who are immune to the invasion, come to help, Arslan could be spared from destruction. In a past life, I was a game developer, and now I'm a mage, and the youngest son of the country's top tycoon family. Once I decide, nothing is impossible. With a plan for a brighter future, Kim Jinwoo murmured happily to himself. Only 3 years until destruction. Let's give it a try. A while later, when the family's mealtime began, Oh-sung excitedly asked his favored grandson, my youngest, "Tell me what you want to eat or do." Kim Jinwoo quickly replied like a delighted child, "Thank you, sir. Grandfather, there's something I'd like to do." Contrary to his expectation, Oh-sung unexpectedly put down his fork and said sternly, "Don't tell me you want to keep studying. Did you forget you nearly died from that?" Kim Jinwoo replied at lightning speed, "It's not that. I want to try making games," he said almost like a breeze. The words froze the four at the table in shock. "Make games." Oh-sung trembled and spoke in a voice lower than a sewer. "You mean those silly video games?" His excessive seriousness made Kim Jinwoo a bit anxious. "Isn't that allowed?" Before the others could show overly emotional faces, someone said, "Jinwoo, games are the best." Kim Jinwoo was stunned as his siblings cheered. Finally, Jinwoo has a hobby appropriate for his age, yes. The kid always talks about neuroscience or AI all day. Oh-sung, likely moved by his grandson's recent ordeal, couldn't hold back tears. "This is the happiest news I've heard lately. Jinwoo, don't we have a game company among our subsidiaries?" He promptly replied, "There's FS Game, though they've spectacularly ruined everything they touch." After the other finished speaking, Oh-sung slammed the table in joy. "That's settled. This is your discharge gift from your grandfather. Do whatever you want." Those words made Kim Jinwoo experience that absurd love for the first time, and he blurted out, "What really?" His mind spun. I didn't expect such support from him. Having a company would be advantageous in many ways. And since it seems to be a dying company, it's perfect for me to do whatever I want. Having my family's backing, of course, made Kim Jinwoo smile and nod. "Thank you, grandfather. I'll do my best." After who knows how long, he snapped awake back in Arslan. Kim Jinwoo stared dumbfounded at the magic-scented space around him and mumbled, "So this is the Mage Tower. It seems Tiras moved it here. Luckily, this is my original body. She said she'd make me into a handsome boy." Actually, this soul transfer between worlds was because Kim Jinwoo wanted to test his upcoming soul transfer procedure. I set a simple automatic spell on the body on Earth. Remote control was smooth. It looks a bit odd, but that's fine. All right, now let's sketch the game's storyline, shall we? And the task that needs a particularly wise mind, of course, belongs to our graceful Tia. She was currently busy writing all sorts of material to salvage the rather difficult situation. Unfortunately, her work was quickly interrupted by Kim Jinwoo's sudden appearance. "Are you writing a new piece?" Tia scolded him in annoyance. "You scared me half to death. Please don't suddenly speak from behind like that." He awkwardly scratched his head and said, "Sorry. The greatest writer in Arslan seems busy." That remark made Tia relatively happy, and she spoke softly from the heart. "I'm weaving all the works I've written into one because everyone's going through a hard time, and I want to create a temporary spiritual refuge for them." Rarely feeling so at ease, Kim Jinwoo pulled out a chair to sit opposite her. Indeed, Tia had a wonderful heart. Imagine a stranger suddenly falling into Arslan. Tia offered sincerely and briskly. "Interesting, that could be the setting for a novel." He suddenly replied mysteriously, sort of like that. Then Kim Jinwoo didn't forget the main point and continued with the scenario he'd thought of. "That person has no obligation to protect this world and just wants to enjoy themselves because they're not connected to it. We can't force them. So how do we make such a person work hard for us? As a writer who'd crafted thousands of distinct lines, Tia quickly built a good outline. You're recruiting hedonists who chase pleasure and indulgence. First, they'll need a sense of belonging here, though somewhat intrigued by this direction. Kim Jinwoo couldn't help correcting, not exactly hedonists, be more specific for me. Tia suddenly smiled enigmatically before presenting a completely different idea. Love and tragedy. A hedonist who only craves pleasure meets their ideal beautiful type, falls in love and settles here. And before their love can bear fruit, right before their eyes that ideal is struck down in a tragic death. After laying out that plot, Tia clapped her hands over her face and laughed loudly like a madwoman. Kim Jinwoo's silence gave Tia a chance to unleash her writing when her excitement peaked. That's when you come to console them, tell them who the enemy is and help them. Having someone respected by those hedonists would be great. For example, someone once close to them dying tragically at an enemy's hands would be effective. If a respected person dies trying to save those hedonists in danger, the emotional collapse and thirst for revenge, loss and regret, the sorrow of never seeing the person you loved and respected again, and the desire for vengeance rising from that. Though those words differed from Kim Jinwoo's original idea, he couldn't hide his interest and slowly nodded with a smile. No wonder she's Arsalan's greatest storyteller. She sketched it in an instant. Love and tragedy. Love blinds people and revenge becomes a powerful drive. If I make them immerse themselves in the game's characters and plot and add a tragic backdrop, they'll act on their own. However, Tia's loud exultant voice suddenly rang out and cut Kim Jinwoo's train of thought in half. I can't wait to see those savages' tears. Just the sight of that will fill me up without eating anything. Only then did he awkwardly clear his throat. Tia, force her to stop what she's doing. I'm sorry, I'm like this again. With her full attention captured, Kim Jinwoo sighed and cast out a big bait. No need to apologize. Let's collaborate on a project. If it goes well, millions of souls will read your story, however. Tia reacted a bit flustered. Millions. He answered cautiously. It could even be tens of millions or hundreds of millions. What's wrong? Tia imagined the myriad reactions of future readers. The author is truly a genius. Is that the scent of a masterpiece blazing up? 5-star review, please publish the next chapter quickly. Then she sprang up as if electrified. My work reaching hundreds of millions of people. If that can happen, I'll do anything. I'll even become your slave. I don't care if my mind, body, and soul get tainted and shattered. Her depraved tone visibly frightened Kim Jinwoo. So she has always written in this state of mind. She didn't hesitate to speak the truth she'd held during her career. The purest things are born from the filthiest and most shattered places. Kim Jinwoo temporarily set that aside and said to Tia, let's only talk business. First, a beta test. Imagine about 3,000 clueless people stepping into Rainsword. That number will grow over time. Give them reasons to become absorbed in this world and fight the invasion. Hearing this scenario for the first time, she was naturally excited. This is pure fantasy. Are those beings from a civilization different from ours? The moment Kim Jinwoo nodded in agreement. Yes, the setting is Arsalan and the summoning point should be. Right, choose the event village, the place undergoing relocation to escape the invasion. Use it as the tutorial area, the starting point, and write the story. Tia quickly let her demonic enthusiasm override reason and laughed like a madwoman. Event village, the land where love and tragedy begin. Just thinking about those savages collapsing emotionally excites me to madness. That madness scared him into fleeing the scene. Let her be for a bit. Since Arsalan is a pre-existing world, with Tia's help to tweak the settings appropriately, the story will be finished quickly. Once complete, I'll send the proposal to FS Game, but I probably won't be able to convince the staff with just the plot. No matter how genius Lee Jinwoo is, they'll surely call him crazy. Kim Jinwoo let his feet lead him forward to give his brain room to think. What I'm planning is a fully immersive RPG world that guarantees freedom like real life, where you can do anything and become anyone. It's really a collection of sci-fi super technology not feasible today. However, since the Soul Gate currently only supports one person, first make the plot and a demo video to show people. So I need to find actors. That thought just appeared, and Kim Jinwoo cultivated to cast a spell in his head. He used a sound transmission spell to contact the disciple he trusted most for this mission. Hasman, can you hear me? The man snapped to attention like an officer to show respect. Yes, master, I hear you clearly. His command quickly reached Hasman. I'm coming to Rainsword now. Go with Hallen and Heine. There's a task I need you to do for Arsalan's sake, forcing him to abandon his current work immediately. Yes, I understand. After a long while at Rainsword City, Kim Jinwoo slowly appeared at the foot of the gate. hefting a massive staff in his hand. Before he could say a word, the 3 disciples who had been here early shouted excitedly, "Master, you're back." Hasmon was the most spirited, eager to share what he'd done. "While you were away, I gave my all to responsibly defend the domain." Hallen followed suit and stepped forward to declare, "May Iala's blessing be with you." Kim Jinwoo barely heard them and offered a polite remark. Everyone has worked hard in their positions, but Hasmon didn't notice his discomfort and kept gushing admiration for the talented man before him. Compared to Master's hardships, our deeds are nothing. Until now, he couldn't take it and snapped irritably, "Please. It's terrifying, so please don't stick your faces so close to me." Of those who received Kim Jinwoo's message, only Haina remained calm and spoke seriously. "I am ready to sacrifice myself for Arsalan, Master." While the other 3 awaited orders cheerfully, Kim Jinwoo was busy planning the upcoming promo. Haina is a beauty, so she's fine, but those 2 look too villainous to be protagonists. Who in the world looks like a dignified elder and an ex-pope like that? A sudden idea made him give a faint smile. In that case, Kim Jinwoo calmly opened a small spatial gate to rummage for the items he needed while murmuring, "Hasmon, you're pretty good at dark magic, right?" The man was slightly surprised by the question, but obediently nodded in confirmation, "Yes. But compared to you, I'm not worth an ant's tail." Suddenly, Kim Jinwoo handed the 2 men some strange items. "There you go, try these on." When they changed in various ways, he shouted enthusiastically, "They really suit you," while Hasmon and Hallen happily whooped excessively. "Oh my master, isn't this the outfit a dark priest wears? Make me a dark priest. Goddess Iala, please forgive me. It's a sin, sacrilege, truly sacrilege." After dealing with those 2 crazy disciples, Kim Jinwoo turned to the remaining one. "As for Haina, let's see." His genius brain began calculating as he inspected the practical but not very flattering armor she wore. 2 covered. This is overcovered. Female knights in the game usually have to. He fell silent for a few seconds before proposing a new option for her. "Try this on." Haina, seeing her panic mode surface, "Huh, master, you want me to wear that?" Kim Jinwoo unexpectedly leaned forward and answered earnestly, "Yes, wear it." At the moment Haina tried to refuse, "Master." He played his familiar threat card that brought her to tears. "It's all for Arsalan's future. Put it on." After a while, Haina slowly stepped out wearing the outfit he wanted. "Master, I've finished changing." The wardrobe change produced a special effect that put Kim Jinwoo in full O-shaped tie, a shaped mouth mode. He lavished praise on Haina. "It really suits you, no, it's perfect." She was a bit embarrassed but remembered an important point and asked, "Is this even called armor?" That question led to back and forth between Kim Jinwoo and Haina. Remember this. The more revealing the armor, the higher the defense stat. What kind of absurd logic is that? "It's reasonable, that's the rule back on my home Earth. What kind of damned place is that?" After calming his disciples' moods, he suddenly fell into silence. The overall picture was tentatively fine, but something was still missing. Since Haina is a knight, create a scene where she stands to protect someone when facing those 2. For example, a fragile, melancholy saintess. Should I contact Saintess the Bissa? The image of a 200-year-old decrepit woman swinging a staff quickly dashed that thought from Kim Jinwoo. Regrettably, "I don't think the Saintess would fit." Suddenly, a joyful shout echoed through the air. "Bet you can't catch me. Sister Eri, you're so slow." She cried in a panic while watching the 2 children run. "Kids, don't run around wildly inside the Lord's castle." Unfortunately, they not only ignored her but turned toward Kim Jinwoo. "It's the Lord," which made Eri's face go pale. "The Lord. We're sorry, Master." The children ran into the castle on their own. Kim Jinwoo didn't care about such trivialities and cheerfully called out, "That's right. You be the Saintess." The unexpected casting instruction naturally made Eri startled. She panicked and offered an excuse to decline. "But I'm a succubus, I'm a useless race. I don't know how to do anything except seduce others." But that very line made Kim Jinwoo happier than ever. "Perfect. Then you're even more suitable, no matter how Eri tried to avoid this event. That's sacrilege." Just minutes later, Kim Jinwoo was still delighted with the cast he'd assembled. "So shall we start acting now?" After some unknown amount of time, Kim Jinwoo and the newly formed 4-person troupe pretended to listen seriously to Tiris's briefing. The Tower Lord of Demon Tower, the mysterious Archmage, and Rainsword's glorious Lord. But as she began speaking, he hastily interrupted. "No need to call me by all those titles." Because of that, Tiris paused mid-sentence before continuing the unfinished report. "Yes, Master. Per your orders, I gathered all 130 of your disciples." Still, she couldn't help showing embarrassment as she glanced at the scene before her. "But why is everyone dressed so strangely?" Kim Jinwoo replied nonchalantly. "We're just role-playing a bit." Tiris grew more puzzled and out of habit said role-playing. He looked at the orb in his hand and spoke oddly. We roleplay to save Arsalan, which forced her to feign boredom as she confessed. I really don't understand what you mean. Kim Jinwoo went quiet to catch his breath for a few seconds before making a surprise announcement. Before explaining anything, I have this to tell you all. I recently awakened. I can even open a soul gate and connect to another world. The good news naturally excited his disciples. So you finally awakened. Congratulations, Master. Under the admiring gazes of those around him, Kim Jinwoo gently outlined his plan. I will summon heroes immune to corruption through the soul gate. Heroes from the same world as me. Your mission is to ensure those heroes can fight in Arsalan. For now, set aside your current posts and duties. When someone innocently asked, "What should we do then?" Kim Jinwoo suddenly dropped a crystal sphere to the leader. "First take this." And when he showed confusion, the master quickly explained his request to the disciples. "It contains a video of all of you acting together. Make it feel more heroic and sacred. Add more skeletons and flesh out the setting details. And compress that video so it fits snugly inside a small magic crystal." The lead disciple, unable to digest those words, asked in confusion, "Yes, what?" Kim Jinwoo not only refused to repeat himself but cleared his throat and spoke coldly. "Don't tell me a mage can't do that," which forced the disciples, however reluctant, to stay silent, but their fearful behavior didn't upset Kim Jinwoo. On the contrary, it boosted his confidence. Though they seemed completely overwhelmed, they'll figure out a way. Making the impossible possible is what mages do. Putting that aside, when everyone wore blue cloaks, they looked exactly like the cat plushies in Lee Jinwoo's room. Because of that line of thinking, Kim Jinwoo suddenly issued an order that couldn't be more childish. "Yes, from now on you are all Mageimon." When the one in front awkwardly voiced everyone's thoughts, "What is that?" he gave a rather vague answer. "It's a creature from Earth that can make any wish come true, so my Mageimon make my wish come true." The topic change was so abrupt the disciples didn't notice and answered solemnly, "Yes, Master." Time passed unnoticed in bustling Seoul. Kim Jinwoo quickly stepped out of his luxury car to deliver to FS Game a data crate that could change the company's future. Kim Jinwoo looked happily at the data crate in his hands and thought excitedly, "Thanks to the Mageimon, I finished the demo video in no time." Suddenly a strange voice rang out, making him instinctively look that way. "Hello, you must be Director Lee Jinwoo. I'm Secretary Kim Hansu, pleased to meet you." He bowed cheerfully and extended his hand respectfully. "Chairman Lee Osung asked me to assist you. It's an honor to work with you." After getting enough information, Kim Jinwoo eagerly shook Hansu's hand. "I understand. I'm glad to meet you too." He quickly led the young man into the company while still reporting aloud. "As you requested, I've gathered all staff in the conference room. Seeing their fairly professional demeanor, excellent, let's go upstairs." At the same time, Dongxian was sitting gloomily in his office, letting out one sigh after another, entirely because of the aggressive articles he had just read online. A mistake, a choice for the future. The gaming industry is doomed. FS Game has become a playground for the rich. FS Game has hit rock bottom. Reports, FS Game has practically dissolved. Those clickbait-laden words easily dampened Dongxian's mood noticeably. Thinking Lee Jinwoo, a genius who earned 5 PhDs in his early 20s, is rumored to have made a spectacular comeback recently. So why on earth would he choose our dying company? Does he want to save a collapsing company the same way he saved himself? Suddenly, Hansu barged through the door, instantly snapping his train of thought. The director has arrived. Kim Jinwoo just walked into the room with an aura of overflowing confidence, which accidentally earned him the main character halo, making all the staff present in the office feel completely blinded by it. Dongxian himself couldn't believe this reality and stared wide-eyed, struggling to suppress the panic in his head, thinking, so this is Lee Jinwoo. His presence is simply unbelievable. Everyone grew tense as Kim Jinwoo took his seat in the power chair within the cool conference room. "I am Lee Jinwoo. I don't think I need to introduce myself much anymore. Let's dive straight into the meeting. Fiend's Saga closed down last month, and your 30 billion won game failed even before it was released. And the entire new development team transferred to NF, right?" Hearing that, Dongxian rushed to apologize almost instantly. "I'm sorry, it's all my fault," while a wave of indescribable panic swelled up inside his head, thinking, "We're dead. Our results are so terrible, we're probably all going to get fired, I knew it." He came here to shut down FS Game and start a new one. But unexpectedly, Kim Jinwoo just let out a gentle sigh, chuckled, and muttered, "Good, I like it." And when Dongxian expressed his confusion on behalf of the other employees with a hesitant, "Huh," he calmly stated his new direction. "Everything has fallen apart anyway, so now we can just clean the slate and start over from scratch," leaving the older man with nothing to say other than a brief agreement. You're right. But those exact words gave Kim Jinwoo an opportunity to subtly have Hansu hand out the new project to the staff. Exactly, we can start over. I have something I want you all to see. Everyone take a copy and read through it. The moment Dongxian read the title, his entire body froze instantly. Project Arsalan. Before anyone could utter a word, Kim Jinwoo quickly laid out the script he had prepared the night before. That is the pitch proposal for a virtual reality game, which includes the background, main storyline, and some concept art. So take a look through it and let me know your thoughts. Exactly as he predicted, when the employees read through the fairly detailed draft, they couldn't help but voice their lively praise. This is brilliant. The world building is solid and it really stands out. It feels medieval yet somehow modern at the same time. However, unlike those relatively young and inexperienced staff members, Dongxian anxiously voiced his perspective. But it says the platform is VR here. I don't think a VR game option will sell well when VR isn't widely adopted yet, and it's virtual reality. I think the public will push back against it. No matter how negatively the other man phrased it, Kim Jinwoo didn't feel worried at all and cheerfully replied, "Don't worry, people won't even be able to buy it in time because it'll completely sell out." A rather confident statement that naturally left the older man endlessly confused. What? Meanwhile, he suddenly shed his previous friendly demeanor to put on a stern, warden-like expression. I mean exactly what I just said. I'm going to turn this world upside down with this virtual reality game. Seeing is believing. Is there a spacious room in this building? Roused by surging curiosity, Dongxian nodded immediately. Yes, we have a motion capture studio with all the equipment cleared out. And Kim Jinwoo quickly issued a command that left everyone feeling both expectant and nervous. Let's head over there. Call everyone down as well. A short while later, all the company employees were gathered inside the motion capture studio, and taking advantage of the big boss's absence, they chatted loudly. Virtual reality? I heard he's a genius, but he really is a bit eccentric. Do you think he's trying to scam us? Him? Why would he even bother doing that? Until Dongxian couldn't stand their pointless gossiping anymore and cleared his throat to make his presence known. Everyone is here, right? Kim Jinwoo didn't even bother looking at them as he immediately nodded and gave the order. Good, turn off the lights. Right as the staff member in charge reached out to turn off the lights, the dark and quiet space unintentionally carried Kim Jinwoo's voice further than ever before. Everyone, step back. He placed a black box on the ground and spoke vaguely to draw as much attention as possible. All right, let's begin. Suddenly, cracks began to appear on the black box, letting a blinding stream of energy burst outward. In the span of a single brief second, the magic array Kim Jinwoo had placed into the box rapidly bloomed, forcing everyone to hurriedly cover their eyes. Before they knew how much time had passed, everyone had been swiftly transported straight into Arsalan. Dongxian, despite knowing some basic details beforehand, still couldn't digest this reality outside the script, thinking a magic array. What on earth is going on here? Suddenly, his field of vision was blocked, causing him to look upward in utter confusion. The terrifying sight before her eyes made a female employee scream at the top of her lungs. What is going on? Everyone stared in a daze at a massive dragon soaring overhead, while letting out an intimidating roar. In that brief moment, not a single person could maintain their courage, and they all screamed in terror. A dragon! Is that a real dragon? Run for your lives, everyone. That reaction made Kim Jinwoo burst into a hearty laugh. Everyone calm down, it's just a hologram. When Dongxian blankly spoke out everyone's inner thoughts with a what? The other man slowly dragged out his words to pull everyone's attention back to him. A hologram. In other words, virtual reality. The moment the space fell silent, Kim Jinwoo enthusiastically spread his arms and announced the most important thing. This is Arsalan. This is the world where Project Arsalan takes place. That statement made Dongxian experience hyper-realistic virtual reality for the very first time as he panicked and yelled at the top of his lungs. You mean this is the world inside the game you designed? Kim Jinwoo saw nothing wrong with what he did and just gently nodded. That's right, looks pretty realistic, doesn't it? While everyone else was busy muttering various things like how can technology like this even exist, he suddenly snapped his fingers while they were still distracted by his words. Now, let's move on to the main storyline. The beautiful ground beneath the employees' feet rapidly turned pitch black. For some unknown reason, the moon moved at an abnormally fast pace, creating a bizarre solar eclipse resembling the eerie hour of wandering spirits in ancient folklore. Unexpectedly, mere seconds after the sunlight was completely blocked, Hasman and Hallen suddenly emerged from the ground according to Kim Jinwoo's instructions. The two of them played their villainous roles to absolute perfection without a single flaw. Tremble in fear, you mortals. The power of darkness shall corrupt every last one of you. Their summoning chant was quickly answered by strange skeletons rushing forward. Hasmon didn't care who the strange-looking people in front of him were, and simply belted out his lines exactly as the script required. My minions, enjoy the flesh feast of these mortals. Those words scared the wits out of everyone. Run, what is that? Is that thing actually real? Director, tell me that's really just a hologram, right? But for some unknown reason, Kim Jinwoo decided to unleash his trolling nature right in the middle of this life-or-death crisis. Well, probably not. That nonchalant attitude made the group of employees feel even more hopeless. What? Though in truth, everything was going according to his plan because when humans reached the brink of despair, a mysterious hero would appear to save them. Heine, everyone fall back. The courageous woman dashed forward at an unimaginable speed, solely to wipe out Hasmon and Hallen's NPC skeleton army. When the bloody chapter ended, the victims' panicked minds were soothed by someone with healing magic as Eri appeared in the role of a beautiful saintess. Everyone, don't worry, before casting a wave of miraculous magic to wipe out all the remaining heretical remnants. She then returned to Heine's side and uttered words akin to a deity descending. The light shall protect you all. Just like that, dozens of people from FS Game fell for the ultimate prank, screaming on cue. It's a saintess. The saintess has blessed us. The holy night has saved us. Kim Jinwoo listened to every single word of theirs and couldn't help but smile blissfully, thinking, perfect. Just as I expected, they're completely sucked into it. Everything was proceeding exactly according to plan. Kim Jinwoo watched the stage he had created reach its climax and happily stepped aside to celebrate internally, thinking, everything is going precisely as planned. Now it was time for the grand finale. Hasmon turned out to have the most spectacular acting performance, excitedly roaring without a hint of awkwardness. Looks like I've got plenty of fresh test subjects. Now my lackeys, tear those fools apart and devour their flesh. The frantic screams of the zombies made Heine put on a tense face and shout, Saintess Eri, take the cue and fly up. Understood. Everyone, please lend me the light within your hearts. Hearing that, the group of employees raised their hands and screamed like zealots of some cult. It looks like they need our power. Raise your hands. All right, let's pool our strength together. A surge of pure power, goodness knows whether it actually came from them or not, rapidly swirled into the blade of Heine's sword. Thanks to that, she gained enough confidence to charge forward head first. Heine let out a battle cry before bringing her sword down. For Arsalan, prompting the surrounding people to follow suit and loudly cheer. For Arsalan, for Arsalan. Just as predicted, Heine only needed to deliver a gentle slash. For Hasmon's face to turn pale green the moment he saw the stream of pure light lunging toward him. This is impossible. The ball of energy released by Heine unleashed a flurry of tiny electric arcs to wipe out the very last remnants of the zombie army. Seizing the moment while the acting fever was at its peak, Hasmon dramatically collapsed to the ground in an artistic fashion. He didn't forget to plead with an unusually shaky voice, Lord of Perdition, please save me, which prompted Hallen to immediately clear his throat and get into character. Useless trash who are of no use to me. A torrent of dark aura burst from his hands, painfully swallowing Hasmon whole as his screams echoed far and wide. The employees witnessing the scene couldn't help but be horrified. He killed his own ally. Yet before anyone could recover from the shock, Hallen extended his hand toward them and cast a spell. Now it's your turn. Almost instantly, everyone was quickly enveloped by a wave of demonic energy, filling the space with ear-piercing screams. As they began to feel desperate, clutching their heads and wailing, save us, run, Kim Jinwoo quickly teleported everyone back to the motion capture studio. Dongxian, after realizing he hadn't suffered any injuries, opened his eyes in confusion. Only to find himself and the rest of the staff still shell-shocked from Kim Jinwoo's overly realistic simulation. Only then did the man cheerfully turn on the lights and question the employees. So, everyone, you think the concept video wasn't bad, right? That question made the employees hastily and noisily voice their thoughts. Was that really just a hologram? Boss, what on earth is going on here? When did you develop this kind of tech? Saintess, please let us meet the Saintess again. And Kim Jinwoo naturally felt intimidated by their overwhelming enthusiasm and awkwardly spoke up. Everyone, please calm down first. Dongxian, as expected of the one with the most seniority in this workplace, quickly regained his composure to speak on behalf of the staff behind him. I'm sorry, boss. I got a little too excited. This is my first time experiencing virtual reality. But boss, is it really okay to reveal something so astonishing? Isn't this one of the League Group's trade secrets? The value of a virtual reality game is beyond imagination, and if this leaks out? Kim Jinwoo naturally had no fear of this issue and confidently talked back to the other person. Can you guys believe it? Just go outside and tell everyone that FS Games is making a virtual reality game. Dongxian fell dead silent for a few seconds before responding awkwardly. I suppose so. After easing everyone's state of mind, Kim Jinwoo cleared his throat and posed a crucial probing question. So, has everyone decided to come with me? Almost immediately, the staff enthusiastically replied while their brains were still floating from the virtual reality experience moments ago. Whatever you need us to do, boss. As long as we get to go with you, we'll do anything. Even if it means going to hell, we'll follow you. With the plan neatly completed, Kim Jinwoo gained the confidence to deliver a passionate speech. Fantastic! Then forget everything you know about game development. We're starting from scratch using a new engine created by me. Since there will be an AI assisting you, learning it won't be that hard. Let's conquer the gaming industry. No, let's conquer world culture together. We can do it. Let's make history. That rallying cry was what prompted the staff to enthusiastically raise their hands and cheer along. Not knowing how much time had passed, an article titled, "The Future of Korea's Gaming Industry." No, the future of Korea is FS Games. This was a shocking piece of news. FS Games is making a game that will change the world, quickly published for the public to read. Almost just moments after that, a series of other news articles also posted stories with similar content. A virtual reality game. Everyone was praising CEO Jinwoo as a savior who would create a paradise for gamers, while urging each other to quickly invest in an opportunity rated as even bigger than Bitcoin. This deal was bigger than Bitcoin. However, those flowery words quickly created a wave of unpleasant reactions on social media. At the same time, Kim Jinwoo, reading the comments in his private laboratory, couldn't help laughing as he muttered, "As expected, no one believes it." Suddenly, his phone suddenly buzzed because Oh-sung was calling. Kim Jinwoo picked up the phone without a moment's hesitation. "Hello, Grandpa." That relatively calm action unintentionally kicked off a brief conversation between Oh-sung and him. "Jinwoo, have you read the articles online yet?" I skimmed through them. "They're riding the momentum to insult my grandson. If you want, I'll have the legal team deal with them right away." "It's fine, Grandpa. Isn't this also a good way to promote?" Oh-sung sensed the other person's excessive calmness and could only sigh as he muttered, "If you say so. But anyway, how is the business progressing?" Kim Jinwoo quickly gave a most positive reply. "Everything is progressing well. We just finished the beta test," allowing Oh-sung, who had been in an anxious state, to heave a sigh of relief. "That's wonderful news." Suddenly, Kim Jinwoo unexpectedly thought of an important issue. Come to think of it, the fishing skill has already been integrated. That train of thought quickly gave him the opportunity to change the subject. "Grandpa, you like fishing, right?" Treated with concern by his grandson, Oh-sung naturally felt overjoyed and shared all sorts of things. "Back in my day, I even caught sharks as big as a house. I even fought with a sailfish." Kim Jinwoo waited for the other person to finish his sentence before asking an ambiguous question. "Would you like to go fishing with me?" Not sensing anything amiss, Oh-sung sincerely replied with obvious sadness. "I'd love to, but my back hasn't been feeling too well lately. I guess I'll just stay home and rest for a while." That exact statement gave him a rare opportunity to execute his plan as flawlessly as possible. "Then there's something I want to show you. I'll come over to your place right now." That night at the Lee family's mansion, Oh-sung, holding the item brought by his grandson, perplexedly opened his mouth to mutter, "So this is the VR device you made yourself." Driven by the excited feeling of seeing someone fall into the trap, Kim Jinwoo quickly put on his devilish tone. "That's right. Just lie down and try it out. You're in for a huge surprise." As soon as Oh-sung got into position, he silently evaluated the product quality almost immediately. I only planned to go along with his whim, but its wearability and design are much better than what Oh-sung Electronics makes. Truly my grandson. Seeing the other person stay silent for a long time, Kim Jinwoo couldn't help probing. "Are you ready?" It was only then that Oh-sung remembered he had to speak up, nodding and muttering politely. "Of course, let's see what you've got." Obtaining that approval, he cheerfully pressed the startup button on the machine while busy chatting with Oh-sung. "Then see you in Arsalan." Data silently transmitted within the electronic circuits. Just a few seconds later, Oh-sung awoke in a haze. He looked at the unfamiliar scenery around him and instinctively muttered in confusion. "Where is this?" Oh-sung easily fell into a state of shock upon feeling the raw authenticity of the natural space he was looking at. Before he could say anything, Kim Jinwoo suddenly appeared, delivering an industrial-grade greeting. "Welcome to Arsalan, Grandpa." When Oh-sung let out the confused question screaming in his head, Jinwoo, what is this? Where on earth are we? He gently diverted the man with a most logical explanation. You're inside the virtual reality game I'm developing. Your in-game body is modeled after your appearance when you were 40 years old. I wanted to make you even younger, but I couldn't find any reference materials. Seeing himself in the mirror, Oh-sung couldn't help howling. This is impossible. Virtual reality. So that was actually true. The other's startled reaction made Kim Jinwoo burst out laughing. I told you you'd be surprised. Grandpa, you're the first person to log into the virtual world I created. Oh-sung didn't pay attention to the other's words and happily touched his face, which he hadn't seen in so long. It's real. This is my younger self. No wonder my back doesn't hurt anymore. This feels amazing. He didn't skimp on praising Kim Jinwoo. This doesn't just stop at being surprising anymore. It's on a completely different level. Where on earth did you get the time to research and build something like this? He cleverly came up with a rather convincing reason. When I was in a vegetative state, my consciousness was actually still active. While lying there, I had plenty of time to think up all these ideas. I was able to focus entirely on my own thoughts. Luckily, Oh-sung didn't think much of it since his grandson had been a genius since childhood, but he still blurted out a question driven by rising curiosity. Can you really do all that? Kim Jinwoo didn't want to delve too deeply into the matter and excitedly changed the subject almost immediately. Anyway, let's go, Grandpa. Fortunately, the man was still overwhelmed by the scenery around him and continued the conversation on instinct. Where are we going? Leading the person forward, he cheerfully shared his inner thoughts. Let's go fishing. A good while later, looking at the sparkling lake before him, Kim Jinwoo couldn't help announcing. We've arrived. Seeing it, Oh-sung widened his eyes in praise. What a beautiful lake. He unexpectedly watched his grandson pull a bunch of items out of a spatial gate, prompting him to express his bewildered thoughts almost immediately. Just like the mirror earlier, truly astonishing. Handing a fishing rod to the other person, Kim Jinwoo spoke sincerely. It's magic. I'm designing it to be as easy to use as possible, so before long you'll be able to do it yourself. Oh-sung quickly brushed aside the knowledge he couldn't yet absorb to return to his favorite hobby. This fishing rod is good. The grip feels just like the one I used many years ago. Spinning around to build momentum a few times, he cast the rod with pinpoint precision. Now watch closely, grandson. As soon as the fishing line dropped onto the lake's surface, in a brief split second, Oh-sung's long fishing line was yanked away hurriedly. The rapidly unfolding event made him shout out hastily, "Fish on." This little rascal is ridiculously strong. Oh-sung strained all his limbs, forcing long dormant muscle groups to wake up and assist him. He used all his might to yank the rod up. I'm much stronger than that. A huge, monstrous fish quickly flew into midair under Oh-sung's astonished gaze. He stared at the fish he had just caught for a long time without being able to snap back to reality. What on earth is this? While Oh-sung blankly muttered, Kim Jinwoo cheerfully clapped and congratulated the other person. Such a big fish. You're amazing, Grandpa. That exact statement woke him up to stare straight at his muscular hands. A sense of joy unexpectedly welled up in Oh-sung's mind out of nowhere. I had already accepted the relentless passing of time, but how long has it been since I felt this full of vitality? It's been so long I can't even remember anymore. While Oh-sung immersed himself in his fantasy, laughing happily, Kim Jinwoo cheerfully pondered his personal agenda, for which he had spent ages building all sorts of plans. Finally, I'll be able to bring Earthlings here to protect Arsalan. Still, this isn't bad at all. Escaping that train of thought, he immediately changed the subject. Grandpa, let's take a picture to commemorate your feat of catching a big fish. Strike a pose. Overwhelmed by one surprise after another, Oh-sung excitedly agreed right away. It even has a photo mode. Sure, take one for me. He quickly climbed on top of the weeping, grievance-stricken fish and laughed heartily. I feel full of energy. Just like that, the rejuvenated man broke into a joyful smile for his grandson to capture in a photo. That night, the grandfather and grandson sat by a campfire to enjoy some delicious roasted fresh fish. Oh-sung chewed a large piece of fish noisily while cheerfully muttering, "This is great. I can actually taste the food and feel full," prompting Kim Jinwoo to laugh and echo, "Bon appetit." Suddenly, the sound of strange footsteps echoed softly. Two strange hunters quickly approached them with clear hostility written on their faces. I've never seen these people in the kingdom before. The moment Oh-sung saw them appear, he confusedly spoke up. Aside from us, are there other people connected too? While Kim Jinwoo awkwardly delivered a clumsy lie. No, they're NPCs. When the two hunters displayed their incomprehension while continuing to advance toward the opposing party. What? Connected? NPCs? They're using such weird words. Drag these suspicious fellows before the Lord. Before either of them could do anything, Kim Jinwoo used telepathy to converse with the opponents. Stop right there. I'm discussing an important matter with an honored guest, so step back. The cold tone and bloodlust-filled face of the opponent terrified the two hunters. My lord. They hurried to sprint away as fast as possible. We're sorry. That left Osung to raise an eyebrow in confusion. Why did they suddenly run away? Is it a programming bug? Kim Jinwoo didn't want to talk much about the issue and simply played along. I suppose so. Remembering an important issue, he had to probe immediately. Though it's still a bit crude, you've built quite a lot. How far along is the development? Kim Jinwoo didn't think much and answered straight. A beginner village, a city, and a hunting ground. Osung cheerfully laughed and confided in his grandson. We still have a long way ahead of us. From now on, I'll support you all the way, so focus entirely on development. Those words naturally made him feel happier than ever. Fantastic! With backing from Chairman Osung, development speed is bound to skyrocket, prompting Kim Jinwoo to express his gratitude sincerely. Thank you, Grandpa, we'll do our best. Suddenly, the older man turned serious and asked an off-topic question. By the way, are you planning to take this back? The other person's fairly clear depiction helped him understand immediately, prompting a swift reply. The connection device. There are still many areas that need improvement, so I have to take it back for now. Hearing that, Osung began to grumble and lament. This old body aches all over. It wouldn't be strange if I dropped dead tomorrow. I guess I'll just lie in bed and wait for the grave. Even though Kim Jinwoo intentionally exposed the truth. You just said that apart from the injury, your body is completely healthy. The older man continued his performance sincerely. My grandmother is calling out to me already. I'm old, so I might as well just die. Naturally, as a little-known inevitability, he immediately softened and sighed. Just keep it for now. I'll let you know when you can reconnect. Hearing that, Osung beamed brighter than a flower. My youngest is truly the best. Thanks to the absolute support of Chairman Lee Osung, development proceeded extremely smoothly. To help players adapt to the alternate world, utility features were developed and improved, and the programming team was now accustomed to the magic engine, developing the system many times faster. Furthermore, after creating the initial main storyline based on Tia's script, the art team designed the appearance and detailed settings for each NPC. There were characters who were even excessively favored, like Prince Leon, whom the staff fell so deeply in love with that they forgot their ongoing work. He's truly the fated character of my life. I want to see him move in real life so bad, right? He's insanely handsome. If we enter Arsalan, we'll get to meet him in person, right? I heard only directors and team leads get to test it. Dongxian, arriving at an inopportune time, got goosebumps upon seeing the murderous glares filled with intent from the subordinate staff, as they began bombarding him with interrogation-like questions. Team lead, I heard you haven't been going home lately. You're in the testing room every day. Is playing by yourself really that fun? He only awkwardly replied and turned to leave immediately. I'm just working. Luckily, just as the atmosphere grew awkward, the elevator doors suddenly opened. Kim Jinwoo, completely oblivious to his subordinates' petty gossip, calmly stepped out to greet them. Good afternoon, forcing everyone to stop what they were doing and bow to reply immediately. Hello, boss, good afternoon. Kim Jinwoo quickly struck up a conversation with Dongxian, ignoring the fact that they were in the shared workspace. The connection device just passed the stability test. If the connection device has passed the stability test, it means production will start soon. And one of the directors would make an important announcement. Yes, the other intentionally spoke right there, leaving Dongxian to awkwardly address everyone in the large room. Everyone knows about Universe Unpacked, Osung Electronics' new product showcase event, right? Our FS games will also be participating. That announcement naturally made the staff beam with joy. Recalling the harsh words he had seen online earlier, Dongxian spoke up eloquently as a way to shake off the sadness. Up until now, everyone has endured a lot, all the criticisms and insults directed at the boss and the company. You must have endured a lot of pain. Now is the time to turn all of that into cheers and praise. Arsalan Saga will conquer the global gaming market. Unexpectedly, that way of speaking was met with endless applause from the staff. Before everyone dispersed, Kim Jinwoo added a special detail. After the presentation ends, I'll distribute the highest-end devices to everyone. We'll also conduct a large-scale internal test. Thanks to that generous financial backing, the staff enthusiastically chanted his name loudly. Lee Jinwoo, Lee Jinwoo, Lee Jinwoo. While Kim Jinwoo was happily soaking up their admiration, he felt his phone vibrating furiously. It turned out Osung, remembering the VR gaming session from the other day, sent a barrage of messages to him. Jinwoo, are you opening the server today? Grandpa is starting his vacation from today. Please open the server. However, his final message. Grandpa is on his way to your place right now, startled Kim Jinwoo. Huh. He hurriedly asked for permission. I have an urgent matter to handle, so I'm leaving first. Everyone can go home early today. When Dongxian expressed his strong work ethic. Boss, I was planning to keep working overtime today. The girls couldn't help screaming noisily. Only the team lead gets to work overtime again? That's so unfair. A while later at the Universe Unpacked event hall, a gathering place for fantasy enthusiasts, tech reviewers Han Dong and Jung Wook began their tour with contrasting mindsets. FS Games is actually participating. Are they planning to announce a second-generation VR device or something? If they keep hyping virtual reality and then release another failed VR device, they're absolute frauds. But thanks to that, they're drawing this much attention, right? Anyway, this still feels like the worst move ever. Everyone says unless it's true virtual reality, they're doomed. From uncomfortable wearing sensations to batteries and app compatibility, the market still has countless issues to solve. Osung, a device manufacturer inferior to the American tech giants, is preparing to launch virtual reality. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi novel. If it's a drastically improved VR device, it might steal the spotlight. I can already picture you bashing it to pieces in your review video. Ladies and gentlemen, Osung Electronics' official Universe Unpacked event will begin shortly. It's starting. The host quickly introduced, causing everyone to fall silent in unison. A special guest will personally introduce the new business venture. Please give a warm welcome to the CEO of FS Games, Lee Jinwoo. While the audience was still busy murmuring, "Look, it's Lee Jinwoo, the genius of the Osung family who just returned from the dead." Kim Jinwoo confidently spoke to the public. "Hello everyone, I'm Lee Jinwoo, CEO of FS Games. Lately, I've been quite fond of the memes about myself. Rumors like I invented superconductors, or that I'm going to open the space age by inventing anti-gravity devices. There are countless stories like that circulating. The product I'm introducing today isn't magical to that extent, but I guarantee it will completely meet everyone's expectations. So allow me to begin." Kim Jinwoo secretly used magic to create special effects, leaving the crowd in endless confusion. Experiencing this sight for the first time, Jung Wook and Han Dong gasped endlessly. "What is this? An ocean? What kind of 4D effect is this?" Kim Jinwoo naturally understood the mixed emotions of the crowd below and calmly continued his presentation. "We have conquered the oceans. There have been countless tragedies and hardships, but humanity's footprints have finally touched dry land. We have crossed deserts, strolled across grasslands, and touched eternal snow. With courage, defiance of death, and the perseverance to overcome despair, we have conquered the highest mountains." The genuine chill made Han Dong gasp. "What kind of technology is this? Is it CGI? Jung Wook dropped his disdainful attitude and trembled as he continued. "Hey, I can feel the texture and even the cold. Unbelievable." Before anyone could say another word, Kim Jinwoo unexpectedly continued his presentation. "After conquering the land, we even conquered the sky. We didn't stop there. We put humans on the moon and launched rover probes to Mars. How wonderful it would be if we could conquer the universe as well. However, due to physical limitations, that is nearly impossible with current scientific technology. Are we born in an era too mediocre for exploration? Will we die without ever experiencing such romance? But I refuse to give up, and finally I found it. I have created a world for you to explore." Kim Jinwoo snapped his fingers to bring everyone back to the event hall in a brief split second, before transporting them to a strange space with a blood moon, a strange place filled with a gloomy atmosphere, which left everyone frozen in place. Experiencing this blended virtual reality technology for the first time, Han Dong involuntarily blurted out his inner thoughts. "Where is this?" Perhaps prompted by Kim Jinwoo, a series of terrifying monsters suddenly appeared, panicking the crowd. "What is this?" Meanwhile, he simply continued his unfinished presentation to make the advertisement leave a deeper impression. "I proudly present to you a fully immersive virtual reality game, a world dreaming of hope, Arslan Saga. The early access version of Arslan Saga will begin in 2 weeks. We require you to connect via the Soul Link connection device. Limited to 2,500 units, they will go on sale starting today." Immediately after those words, the exclusive connection device for Arslan Saga was put up for sale at over 3 million won per unit. This led viewers watching the press conference online to express their concerns on social media. "A fully immersive virtual reality game? Is that for real? It's a scam. Is Osung Electronics manipulating their stock price? What the hell is that guy talking about? Lee Jinwoo has lost his mind. What a national embarrassment. Han Dong read every single comment and sighed. The comments are all negative, as expected. Despite fierce opposition, the Soul Links sold out completely. Young-wook then voiced his perspective. Honestly, I still don't believe it. If this is a scam, I'm suing immediately. When he revealed his suspense. The early access version starts in 2 weeks. I bought one, so in 2 weeks I'll unbox and review it. The other didn't hesitate to throw a bucket of cold water on him. I'm looking forward to seeing whether we'll meet in Arsalan or in court in 2 weeks. That annoying way of talking made Han Dong ask a difficult question. What if it's real? Young-wook laughed with an unclear attitude, but confidently replied. Then I'll quit being a tech YouTuber and switch to becoming an Arsalan YouTuber. 2 weeks later in Arsalan, the beautiful dreamland was dying a slow death with every passing second. Kim Jinwoo cheerfully looked up at the sky, then sighed and muttered like an aged sage. They've finally arrived, the heroes of Earth. Haggard smiled warmly and spoke up. Welcome to Avani Tavern, adventurer. I am Haggard, the master of Avon Tavern. Tia shouted almost immediately. Wait. Tia shouted almost immediately. Wait. Tavern Master Haggard, your acting is too stiff. Act a bit more naturally. Next, Tia made a somewhat funny request. Since a tavern master must have a protruding belly, starting today, eat 6 meals a day. Haggard didn't object in the slightest, simply nodding. Yes, I understand. Tia raised an eyebrow and looked to the left. Next, Thompson in the role of the blacksmith. Have you memorized all your lines? Thompson stood at attention with a straight back. Diligently, director. Satisfied, she shouted loudly. Good, prepare to act. Right after that command, he began to laugh exaggeratedly while raising his hammer high. Ah, my hand slipped. The sword broke. Due to the failed enhancement, all materials have disappeared. That over-the-top acting made Tia extremely excited. Good, make it a bit more sarcastic. Thompson chimed in midway. But the success rate for enhancement is 99%. Is it really necessary to intentionally fail? Lowering her head to look at the book in her hands, she replied. That's the only way to get them hooked, plus the original design calls for it, causing him to respond. It's pretty much like a gambling addiction. Tia immediately nodded in agreement. Exactly. At that moment, Kim Jinwoo suddenly walked over from somewhere. You're doing a great job. And hearing his voice right beside her, she happily smiled. Lord Jinwoo. Kim Jinwoo slowly inquired about the situation. The heroes will be arriving here soon. Is the magic tower functioning well? Tia briskly reported. Yes, right now we can simultaneously generate up to 10,000 bodies. Going beyond that will require expanding our facilities. He muttered thoughtfully while rubbing his chin. As expected, mana stones are the real issue. Tia quickly added, we have to solve this problem to proceed smoothly toward our ultimate goal. Kim Jinwoo didn't reply right away and focused on deep thought. We definitely need more troops, but there's no need to rush. For now, we can gradually reclaim the eroded land alongside the heroes who have arrived. For the present, let's just focus on the positive situation right in front of us. At this point, he suddenly cast his gaze around in a circle and silently assessed. The atmosphere is completely different compared to when they were slowly dying away without a shred of motivation when facing despair. This is precisely the hope that breathes life back into their world. With that thought, he abruptly turned to look at her. Are there any other issues? Tia closed the book and softly replied, we don't have any knights to play Leon. Kim Jinwoo, on the contrary, didn't see this as a problem. Just find any random knight who's good at swordsmanship to play the role. But Tia started rambling with an infatuated look. According to the concept art, he's an extremely handsome man who looks like the living embodiment of the holy sword, so we can't just pick anyone. Since he's the central character driving the story, we absolutely must cast an extraordinarily handsome man. Hearing that, he frowned slightly and thought, true. Most knights give off the vibe of seasoned warriors rather than pretty boys. Even the most handsome knight in Rainsword has only ever been called a decent-looking guy. Kim Jinwoo finally felt a slight headache at this point. Making players fall in love with Arsalan, immersing them deeply into this place, making them despise the erosion, driving them to fight for Arsalan, with Prince Leon standing at the very center of it all. Finding himself still completely flustered, Kim Jinwoo blurted out, isn't there any way? Before Tia could even answer, hearing Tiras chuckle nearby. There is a way. Hearing her voice, he turned his face toward Tiras. She quickly approached Kim Jinwoo and offered a wicked grin. Why not just create a body and let Master possess it? Adding, even though Master isn't a master swordsman, you possess a profound understanding of swordsmanship. Hearing this, a chill ran down his spine, thinking instead of a practical method, This feels like it's just meant to satisfy her own hidden motives. Yet Kim Jinwoo himself let out a couple of clearing coughs and amended his stance. That idea actually sounds okay. First, we'll create the body based on the concept art and discuss the details later. At this point, Tiras suddenly interjected. What kind of person do you take me for? Her expression at that moment looked utterly gloomy. I've already finished it, please follow me this way. Kim Jinwoo and Tia followed Tiras to a certain location. The moment she stepped inside, Tia let out a startled gasp. Are all of these dolls? Kim Jinwoo glanced around and dropped a blunt remark. This place still looks genuinely creepy. At that moment, she accidentally caught sight of something. Tia excitedly stepped closer. This doll is actually pretty cute. Tiras evenly replied. That doll is a childhood version of Master. I designed it so it could fit snugly in your arms. And excitedly added, the main highlight is these chubby cheeks. Tia eagerly lifted the doll high up. Oh, what a masterpiece. Please transfer your soul into this body, my lord. Kim Jinwoo rejected it directly without a second thought. I am not transferring into that thing. She immediately tried her best to coax him. Oh, come on, why not? I'll shower you with endless affection. With his face showing 10 parts dismay as he replied. Right, that's exactly the problem. I'm clearly going to suffocate to death. Tiras piped up from the side. Leon's body is over here. She even cheerfully gave a warning beforehand. You two shouldn't be too surprised when you see it. Kim Jinwoo was momentarily clueless. What? Tiras reached out and began slowly pulling back the fabric. Finally, the moment has arrived, as she applied strong force to pull it away, revealing something that didn't belong to this world. A divine beauty. Tia and he stared intently to see what kind of masterpiece it actually was. The moment the covering cloth was pulled down, the body before their eyes emitted a faint glow. Tia's eyes widened instantly as she lunged forward in excitement. So perfect. He's even cooler than the Leon I imagined. Tiras proudly boasted right away. I worked hard for a full month without resting. The bones are made from cactus bone, and the muscles are synthetic fibers made from molten ESD, so its physical capabilities are exceptionally superior. She continued adding, I also spent every last coin I had to craft the equipment. It's a masterpiece made from Lord Helbai's scales, crafted by 12 dwarf artisans I hired. Kim Jinwoo almost instantly caught the suspicious point. Helbai? That guy Helbai willingly handed over his scales, but he brushed that matter aside and sat down in a chair. All right. Let's test it out to see if the connection works properly. The staff in Kim Jinwoo's hand began to glow. Meanwhile, Tiras and Tia stood to the side watching in excitement. Not long after, he slowly opened his eyes inside Leon's body. Meanwhile, back in Seoul, 10 minutes before the launch of Arsalan Saga, Hebyul excitedly shouted, This is the standard version of Soul Link. Clutching the Soul Link tightly in her hand, her eyes showed clear fascination. Scrolling past a fiercely exploding chat section, Hebyul slowly replied, I was planning to buy the pro version, but what if it turns out to be a scam? So for now, I'll just buy the standard version. With that said, she eagerly put it on. When I switched to the broadcasting settings, the chat box popped up right in front of my eyes. I can probably use this for my daily streams too, right? Then Hebyul raised her voice in a cheer. It's 10 o'clock. Looking at the instruction text, she stammered. Everyone, it says I can connect now. Even so, Hebyul gently adjusted the soul link into place. For now, I'll try connecting and see. Let's check if this virtual reality is real or just a scam as rumors are gossiping. Carrying that nervous feeling, she pressed the button. I'm pressing it, login. Behind Hebyul, a very strange light suddenly burst forth. She let out a thoroughly bewildered gasp. What in the world is this? At that exact moment, the hero summoning array emitted a similar light. A female mage sternly announced, The first hero has arrived, everyone let's begin. Hebyul, over on her end, hazily rubbed her eyes. Startled, she looked at the strange surrounding space. Where on earth am I? Hebyul immediately informed her viewers. Everyone, does anyone see this? I am actually inside virtual reality. She began examining the simulation screen in front of her. Looks like a character customization room, let's see. Hebyul muttered, The races I can choose from are human, elf, dwarf, and orc. Eagerly selecting her setup, she chirped. First, I'll pick the most beautiful race, elf. I'll also adjust the chest to be a bit bigger. Right after selecting, Hebyul was swiftly teleported elsewhere. The very first thing she did was admire herself and brag. Look, everyone, I've turned into an elf. Ignoring how wildly the comment section was exploding, Hebyul mused. Anyway, is this place really Arsalan? Emotionally clutching her face, she screamed. I'm losing my mind, I love this so much. Hebyul stammered tremblingly. I'm actually in virtual reality now, but where on earth should I go next? Right at that moment, a hand suddenly reached out from somewhere. The starting village of Avent is over that way. She instinctively turned her head. Thank you. The moment she saw the other person, Hebyul's eyes couldn't help but widen. Kim Jinwoo stood bathed in a dreamy, radiant sunlight as if glowing. If you don't know the way, would you like to go with me? He introduced himself with a straight face inside Leon's body. My name is Leon. The event village was extremely lively at that moment. A brown-haired guy excitedly clapped in the middle of the street. Lee Jinwoo is an absolute god. While a black-haired guy who saw this casually invited him. Hey, buddy, want to go grinding levels together? In another corner, another new player actively walked up to ask those around him. Excuse me, do you know where this is? I was clearly fighting the heavenly demon, but when I woke up. The person being questioned also gave him a hazy look. Is this some kind of martial arts roleplay? Hebyul had managed to enter the village by now, momentarily unable to hold back her exclamation. It's only been a moment, and there are already this many people. Looking around clumsily, she thought, I've made it to the village, but I have no idea where to go next. I can just ask the guard, right? She eagerly hurried over. Excuse me. The guard, upon seeing Hebyul, looked slightly startled, a hero. He raised his hand to clear his throat, telling himself, just stick to the script naturally. Clearing his lungs, the guard instantly put on his most enthusiastic, welcoming expression. The event village always welcomes heroes. First, please state your name. She paused for a beat, my name, but very quickly Hebyul smiled and replied, Is this where I enter my nickname? Then I'll use Hebyul. Right as she finished speaking, a game system notification suddenly popped up, making her excitedly gush. I've got a name now. Yet Hebyul curiously asked him, Everything feels so natural, are you even a player? The guard mechanically repeated his old line, The event village always welcomes heroes. Leading Hebyul to naturally conclude, guess he really is an NPC. She awkwardly tested the waters. Do you have any quests or anything? At that moment he pointed. As expected of a hero looking for quests the moment you arrive. The guard evenly guided Hebyul. Please head over to the Adventurers Guild that way. She excitedly cheered. Thank you so much. Seeing the comment section explode once again over the guard's good looks, Hebyul couldn't help but chime in. Seriously though, before unconsciously remembering Kim Jinwoo, the moment we reached the village gates, he just walked off. With that kind of aura, I really don't think he's a player. To break the boredom, Hebyul chatted with her viewers as she walked. Feels more like an NPC. Oh well, I'm sure we'll get more clues about him once we start doing quests, right? Kim Jinwoo's soul was observing everything from above, thinking, the players' reactions to Leon are pretty good. If that idiot could hear this, he'd probably be thrilled. With that thought, he began using his supernatural senses to probe. All right, let's see if she has any useful traits. Traits were the power of the soul that all earthlings like Kim Jinwoo possessed. The essence of a soul was built from the number of years a person had lived and the experiences accumulated within it. Traits didn't appear on a player's status window, but when they clicked on a talent within a trait, the growth rate would be accelerated thanks to Aaron's skill. After appraising her attributes, Kim Jinwoo partially realized. As expected, most of them are D or E rank, but his gaze suddenly flashed with a hint of surprise. It turned out Hebyul's social evolution trait had caught Kim Jinwoo's attention, an A-rank trait for a brand new player. He instinctively retraced his memory of their conversation not long ago, thinking, she said she's a streamer named Hebyul, right? Her long-term streaming career must have forged that trait. Kim Jinwoo vaguely grasped the girl's exceptional potential, thinking social evolution doesn't just work on humans, but also on monsters, deities, and spirits. If she nurtures that trait properly, she could take the lead in purifying this place. Over on Hebyul's side, she had finally reached the place called the Adventurers Guild, a branch located in the event village. Curious, she pushed the door open and walked in. So this is the Adventurers Guild. The interior scenery was so sparkling that Hebyul couldn't help but gasp out loud. The very next second, an enthusiastic voice rang out. Welcome, hero. Tia played the receptionist role to absolute perfection. My name is Tia, a registration clerk. Welcome to the Adventurers Guild's Event Village branch. Hebyul couldn't help but be mesmerized by the other person's beauty, thinking she is gorgeous. Tia smiled warmly. When you join the Adventurers Guild, you'll receive plenty of benefits. If you're a beginner, don't worry about your status, just register. Hebyul rushed forward hastily. Yes, I will. I'll register right now. Afterwards, Tia thoughtfully helped Hebyul complete the beginner registration process. Once finished, she pulled out a pouch of items and placed it on the desk. Hero of Acadia, your adventurer registration is complete. Check your schedule and try to complete your goals. This is your starter gear. Hebyul blankly asked back, Starter gear? Tia meticulously listed them out without missing a beat. An appraisal notebook, a spatial pouch, your inventory, and some startup funds. We also provide basic weapons at the armory, so please go pick yours up. Hebyul smiled cheerfully. Thank you, pretty big sister. Tia responded with a head pat and a friendly smile. Thank you, sweetie. Kim Jinwoo was still floating in the air, observing everyone. Midway through, he suddenly heard Tia bragging via telepathy. I just met a hero named Hebyul, and she looks extremely adorable. Makes me want to torture her so bad. She grew increasingly excited to the point her wording went out of control. I want to quickly plunge her into misery just to see her eyes fill with tears. Are all summoned heroes this warped? Who knows? At this rate, we even managed to drag a genuine veteran from another world over here. Kim Jinwoo asked in astonishment, What do you mean, a veteran? Right at that moment, 3 people walked into the registration hall. The beefiest one grandiosely roared, I have descended. The blonde one showed a displeased expression. How boring, this world is so dull I could die of boredom. And the remaining old man in the group acted equally arrogant. Hey boy, bring me some noodles and alcohol fast. These lunatics officially left Tia frozen like a statue. She awkwardly reported, Jinwoo, some weird people have arrived here. The brawny pink-haired guy cluelessly blurted out, Crap, we don't have any script. Kim Jinwoo gave a random, contextless reply, Good job. Tia blankly asked back, President Jinwoo. Then the next second they started raising hell, causing her to panic. Don't eat the request form. Grab it back from him, hurry. Don't roll down the stairs, there are no secret passages down there, your skull's going to crack in half. I'm not your older sister, and I'm not your mom either. Hebyul laughed crying as she commented. Everyone, you get a title if you fluster Tia. 3 weeks have passed and we still haven't found anyone, searching for someone brave enough to go tease the pretty big sister. Tia, having been thoroughly hassled to exhaustion, could only offer a bitter smile for a moment. She crossed her arms and hugged herself, muttering, Someday I'll get to see it. The sight of heroes breaking down and crying miserably. The smile on Tia's face at that moment was terrifying. If I can see that sight, I'm willing to sacrifice all their hair. A new order had been established across the world, with apology and retraction broadcasts airing continuously. A prime example was a sincere bowing posture on a broadcast. I apologize. From the very beginning, no, even before that, I doubted this situation. I created a massive public wave with over-the-line comments and unverified claims, and I am deeply sorry. From now on, I will reflect on my own behavior. Things had become so serious that many countries rushed to air emergency programs about something they had never even heard of before. Deep down, everyone knew clearly, if they didn't sync up with this change, they would be left behind forever. This was a fate they had no choice but to accept. During the first week since the release of Arslan Saga, Kim Jinwoo spoke up in a friendly tone. Good morning, everyone. And an employee immediately replied cheerfully. Good morning, President. Another person excitedly asked, President, have you seen all those delivery trucks parked in front of the company? He nodded very quickly. There are a lot of trucks today, too. Dongxian laughed as he said, It's not just me. Even the youngest kids in the team have turned off their phones. We're getting flooded with calls. Everyone's begging for a Soul Link slot. Kim Jinwoo burst into a hearty laugh upon hearing that. Everyone's worked hard. Then he continued asking, So when can we roll out the next supplementary batch? Dongxian slowly replied, We'll open pre-orders on Monday as planned. The initial batch had 50,000 units, but we might increase it. Kim Jinwoo instantly calculated in his head 50,000 heroes. With that many, we can finally carry out our first pacification of the eroded region. It's time to start preparing. With that thought, he smiled with narrowed eyes. Get ready to drop the main storyline release soon. Dongxian excitedly replied, Oh, so Leon is finally making his debut. The female employee was equally thrilled. Leon is coming out. He eagerly suggested, Boss, if that's the case, can you check my product pitch for Leon's merchandise? We've got keychains, stickers, body pillows, and figures all ready to go. She narrowed her eyes and shouted, I want one too. The scene cut to Kim Jinwoo standing in front of a mirror muttering to himself, Leon? Is he really that bad? He raised an eyebrow slightly. All right, he actually is absurdly handsome. Tiras had stepped up behind him at some point. I really went a bit overboard, how embarrassing. Kim Jinwoo resignedly said, Hey, knock before entering. She stepped closer and whispered, Prince Leon? Or rather, the tragic traveler. Looking into those sorrowful eyes, there must be a hidden story behind them. Kim Jinwoo sighed wearily. So you're planning to stay in character even all the way in here. Finished speaking, Tiras jumped right in front of his face. She continued rambling with a bizarre expression. O traveler with sorrowful eyes carrying the light of tragedy. Tiras pretended to play the role of Leon. Would you like to listen to my story, benefactor? Kim Jinwoo miserably uttered. Please stop using that tone. He tiredly brought a hand up to support his forehead. I'm already exhausted. Anyway, are there any good hunting grounds nearby for the heroes to level up? Tiras thought for a moment and softly replied, as far as I know, no. If you mean the area outside Chansik's daughter's territory, there isn't one. Hearing that, he casually turned around and walked off. So we don't have any private hunting grounds to borrow from Doom, huh? Kim Jinwoo walked away immediately after saying that. He stepped into Doom all by himself. Up in the sky, the blood-red moon still hung suspended. Down below, Kim Jinwoo was surrounded by monsters trying to attack, but they were blocked by his barrier. He frowned and glanced around. This place still feels really annoying. Kim Jinwoo raised his magic staff, emitting a stream of light. We have guests and you won't even come out to greet them. His face hardened as he pointed his magic staff forward. Knock, knock. A burst of flames erupted from the staff, creating a heaven-shaking explosion. The previous attack directly destroyed the surrounding land, forming a valley stretching out like a pre-drawn path. Great magic! Doorbell. Suddenly, a wave of purple energy gathered midair. You've arrived. An ominous laugh echoed. Even if you didn't make such a fuss, I already knew you were here. The Lord of Corrosion appeared, looking down at Kim Jinwoo with a smile. Did you finally come to offer up your soul? Kim Jinwoo thought to himself. Ella's priests and the noble holy knights all fell before this creature. Their souls were torn apart and corrupted, turning them into slaves unable to escape the core of corrosion. He gripped his staff and charged forward. That's why I've been fighting alone until now. It was a lonely and solitary battle beyond endurance, and in the end, I failed. It smiled mockingly, looking down. Accept your fate, you've already lost. How much longer do you think that pathetic barrier will protect you? The corners of Kim Jinwoo's mouth curled up into a smile. The Lord of Corrosion noticed this and asked with immense suspicion, Is there something funny? He raised his head and replied, Nothing, I just feel sorry for you. Kim Jinwoo pointed at it. The Lord of Corrosion cannot move away from the center of its own territory. If you had devoured enough land to raise your rank, it might have been different, but you still haven't managed to do that. The Lord of Corrosion shouted in extreme anger, You bastard, did you come here just to mock me? He turned around and walked away. Of course not, I'm not that free. Kim Jinwoo scanned his surroundings. It should be around here. Down below, a village with many figures came into view. Found it. They were hideous-looking goblins lingering around a level 1, corrupted demon zone. The Lord of Corrosion stepped forward, chuckling as it looked down. You know damn well it's useless to destroy those. Even if you use magic powerful enough to wipe them out, they'll soon be reborn inside the corrosion zone. Kim Jinwoo raised his magic staff high. If it were just me alone, that would be true. He slammed his staff hard against the ground, causing a surge of power to erupt. A magic array with massive bolts of lightning poured down violently toward the lower level. Kim Jinwoo flicked his wrist slightly. The goblins stared up at the sky in utter shock. Right after that, the entire formation launched straight up into the air. The Corrosion Lord shouted in sheer disbelief, Spatial magic! What the hell are you plotting? Kim Jinwoo waved a hand dismissively and said, Just borrowing a few of them for a sec. Make sure to restock later, all right? As it roared in fury. Glancing back at the Corrosion Lord, he added, And from now on, you're the mid-boss for Act 1 of the Arsalan saga. Hope you put on a good show. Kim Jinwoo's retreating back suddenly froze, as if he had just remembered something. Clenching his hand into a fist and extending it, he muttered, If you're gonna borrow someone's stuff, you gotta pay a fee, you know. The Corrosion Lord stared skeptically at his outstretched hand. Kim Jinwoo flashed a friendly finger with a smug, arrogant expression and said, Keep the change. Gnashing its teeth in sheer rage, the Corrosion Lord growled, You bastard. It lashed out at Kim Jinwoo repeatedly, but he casually threw up a shield and strolled away, yelling, I'll kill you, you damn mage. Get back here. The scene quickly cuts to an ecological forest. Namgung marched ahead excitedly, asking, Goblin subjugation? We finally got a real mission. While Boldajang trailed behind, replying, Sister Tia said those goblins drop rare swords. Walking along without paying attention to the chilly draft under his feet, Namgung muttered, They should be showing up any second now. The deeper the three of them ventured into the forest, the more palpable the chill became. Looking up in utter confusion, Hebyul stammered, What is this? Why did it suddenly get so dark? While the live viewing chat went wild with frantic speculation. Suddenly, a grotesque purple foot stepped into view. Goblins with glowing red eyes gripped their weapons and marched toward them. Namgung stared in shock and called out, Goblins, but they're huge and purple. Are these elite monsters? All at once, a goblin let out a furious roar. Seeing this, Namgung struck a pose, drew his sword with a smug grin, and declared, They're still just pathetic little runts. I'll finish this in 3 strokes. But before he could even react, the creature lunged forward to attack. Namgung's eyes shrank in sheer disbelief as he gasped. Way too fast. The goblin zipped right past him, delivering a lightning-fast slash. The two teammates behind him were horrified to see their companion fall. Furious, Buldejang swung his staff to conjure a surge of magical fire, shouting, "You bastards!" Fireball. A massive magic circle flared to life, triggering a rather large explosion. Buldejang smiled with absolute confidence, thinking, "Did that get him?" While the chat erupted in a frenzy. Wait a second. Suddenly, a giant Dao burst out from the thick smoke. The goblin lunged forward, running Buldejang through with its spear, sending the chat into absolute chaos. Wait, why is a mage casting a resurrection chant? Resurrection is the ultimate truth in every game. Is this guy actually an idiot? Raising her bow high, Hebiel stammered, "Are they all dead?" As the chat exploded further. "They're so fast, they've definitely gotta be elite monsters. This is bad, Hebiel, run. What is that guy even doing? If you die, you can't log back in for an hour. This game is insane. It's scarier than a horror movie." Glaring at the grotesque goblins, the young woman thought to herself, "These aren't normal goblins. We can't win this." Without warning, the monsters lunged straight at her. Hebiel shrieked in absolute panic. Out of nowhere, a sword arc flashed from behind. A figure dashed forward, stepping right in front of her. Before the goblins even realized what had happened, they were instantly obliterated on the spot. Hebiel stared in stunned disbelief at the back of the figure standing before her. He slowly turned around, smiled, and said, "We meet again, hero." Kim Jinwoo broke into a bright grin and asked, "Is everyone all right?" World-class luxury. Watches operate entirely through intricate components fitting together with absolute precision. Every tiny part, meticulously crafted by master watchmakers, functions without a single flaw, proving the true value of a masterpiece. Right here, Leon's body was much the same. Blessed with a flawless physical constitution, intricately channeled through 24 layers of advanced magic, brought to life by the dedication and hands of Arsalan artisans. It was flawlessly immaculate, radiating a brilliant glow, exuding a pleasant fragrance, and reinforced by 21 other spells. Hebiel quickly raised a hand to block the dazzling radiance pouring off him, muttering, "He's shining way too bright." A comment popped up in the chat reminding everyone to snap out of it, and the streamer suddenly jolted awake. "A viewer just donated 10-1. Wake up, stop drooling. How embarrassing, I didn't even realize I was doing it." With a devastatingly handsome smile, Kim Jinwoo stepped closer and asked, "Are you all right? Are you hurt anywhere?" While the chat completely lost its mind. "Didn't you just act like a keyboard warrior a second ago?" Hebiel stammered out a hasty reply. "Why, yeah, I'm fine," prompting him to deftly weave a spell as he said, "I'll cast a healing spell on you just in case. Can't be too careful." Suddenly, a golden aura enveloped her, leaving her utterly startled. "Huh!" The chat went even wilder. "Healing magic? Are you kidding me? You can't learn that at the vocational training center. Can we learn that too? Wait, what?" Blushing fiercely, Hebiel inspected her own body, thinking, "I wasn't even hurt, but I can actually feel the energy surging through me." Suddenly, she let out a loud, excited shriek as a 100,001 donation flashed across her screen from a generous patron. Overjoyed to the point of madness, Hebiel cheered, "100 grand from our generous donor. Here comes your 10-streak wink." The moment she remembered Kim Jinwoo standing right next to her watching, she instantly turned to stone. Lowering his voice, he murmured, "Oh dear." Kim Jinwoo quickly placed a hand on her head and began casting magic, saying, "Looks like you took a nasty blow to the head. I'll heal you right away, poor thing," causing her to desperately protest. "No, I didn't get hit." Suddenly, a message window popped up, stunning her as the chat piled on. "Anonymous user donated 10,001. This is gonna be good." Anonymous user 2 donated 50,001. "I'll chip in 200,000 if you pull it off." Oh Lord. Kim Jinwoo cast a sympathetic gaze at Hebiel, thinking, "Yeah, her head is definitely scrambled." Suddenly, a system window materialized. The Archmage has sponsored the quest. Hebiel dropped her jaw in sheer shock. "Huh, 5 million. Throwing her arms up to form bunny ears on her head, she started to hop. Crimson with humiliation, she launched into bizarre little dance moves, singing, "Jump. Your very own cute bunny is here just for you. Your adorable bunny has suddenly appeared." The second she finished, she whipped her head away in absolute mortification, thinking, "Don't look at me with those eyes." While Kim Jinwoo stood off to the side, marveling internally. So this is capitalism. The power of money truly is grand. Smiling warmly, he reached out a hand and said, "Your head definitely needs a proper checkup at the temple. Let's get to a safe place first." While Hebiel wept internally, wondering how on earth to explain herself. "I told you I didn't get hit in the head," and thus birthed the greatest scene of the year, voted on not just by viewers, but by the entire streaming platform. The scene cut to nighttime, with Hebiel trailing a few steps behind, thinking, Even his back looks gorgeous. Without warning, he turned around, noticing the girl lagging behind. Smiling gently, he offered a soft reminder. "We're here, watch your step." Hebyul's face flushed bright red as she stammered. "Why yes, thank you for worrying about me." While the chat exploded yet again. "Is acting all clingy and shy in front of handsome guys scientifically proven to work?" Wait, Leon doesn't even have a player info window pop up. Is he the main character? Look at those looks and stats, he's 100% the protagonist. Turning back with a smile, Kim Jinwoo said, "The goblins probably won't chase us all the way out here." To which she replied with a smile, "Yeah." Hebyul bowed a full 180 degrees and blurted out, "Thank you for saving me. It's a bit late for proper introductions, but I'm Hebyul," prompting Kim Jinwoo to extend a hand with a smile and introduce himself. "I'm Leon, a traveler." He smoothly whipped up a ready-made excuse, saying, "I'm traveling to investigate the corrosion. That's when I discovered monsters corrupted by it appearing around Avent. I want to believe the magical barrier is still holding strong, but I'm afraid a sinister plot is underway." Hearing this, Hebyul quickly asked, "Were those purple goblins caused by the corrosion too?" To which he replied promptly, "Indeed, they've been tainted by it." Special note, Hebyul. Suddenly, Kim Jinwoo's eyes lit up brightly. Triggering his probing skill, he thought to herself, "Her favorability rating is definitely S rank. She might just become the central figure of this expedition." Extending a hand in an inviting gesture, Kim Jinwoo pleaded, "My strength alone is not enough. I implore you, warrior, please eradicate the corrupted goblins." A system window swiftly blinked into view. Leon's request, impending conspiracy. Favorability increased and main storyline unlocked. Hebyul's eyes went wide in pure astonishment. "We finally got a main quest. Am I supposed to assemble a subjugation force?" She began to recount her worries internally. "Even if I tried, is gathering 200 people actually feasible? Between gathering herbs and wandering around, everyone's way too busy with their own stuff." Hebyul clenched her fists tight. "No, I have to make this happen because this is Leon's request." Her hands firmly grasped his. With a face as red as a ripe tomato, Hebyul answered, "I'll do my absolute best." After handing Hebyul her first mission, Kim Jinwoo threw himself into action in his role as Leon, cheering from the sidelines in a booming voice. "Warrior, I'll provide cover for you." He helped the warriors with their hunting, earning a flurry of grateful cries. "Thank you, my lord." By the end of the day, he was smiling and praising the girls. "It's quite impressive that you gathered this many herbs. Even the alchemists in Avent would struggle to pull this off." Leaving one girl to beam internally, Leon praised me as he lent a hand with the harvest. Kim Jinwoo hauled out a large pouch and announced, "Here are various medicines and items. A small token of my appreciation for you warriors." The recipients looked deeply worried as they protested. "Is it really okay to give all this away, Leon? You won't have anything left for yourself." Kim Jinwoo broke into a radiant smile, extending his hands generously. "I'll be fine. Don't I still have all of you?" Heartwarming stories about Leon began flooding community boards everywhere. One girl who had been too terrified to even step outside her room suddenly thought of Leon. He had called her a warrior, so she decided to muster all the courage she had to live up to that title. When she finally opened her door and stepped outside, her mother pulled her into a tight embrace and wept, leaving the girl racked with guilt as her heart ached most of all to see her mother blaming herself. She vowed to herself, "I'm a warrior, so I'm not going to live pathetically anymore. I'll go find a job and pay off my debts, and since a bunch of newbies are about to flood into Arsalan, I'll take care of warriors just like me too." The comments rolled in. "Brilliant. Now that is a true warrior, someone who summons up their courage, a true warrior." This is the kind of positive feedback loop playing this game is all about. Lord Leon, he's a god. Meanwhile, Kim Jinwoo stared down at his tablet with a satisfied smile, thinking, all that hard work walking around really paid off. They're getting motivated and the atmosphere is great. At this rate, the subjugation force will assemble in no time. Should I accelerate the plan just a little bit? He began packing briskly toward a certain destination. The door to the room slowly swung open. Kim Jinwoo strode into the gleaming chamber. Tiras looked up in mild surprise and greeted him. "You've returned, master." He walked right up to her to check on the situation, asking, "How's the status of the control device?" To which she gently replied, "It's connected seamlessly. The magic tower acts as an intermediary, allowing us to control the details from right here." Smiling as he looked up, Kim Jinwoo praised, "Good. I can feel the energy of the corruption core behind this temporary core." Gazing upward, he thought to himself, if the goblins start appearing more frequently, they'll form that subjugation force even faster. Without turning around, Kim Jinwoo issued an order. "Tia, bring Hasman, Hallen, and the key NPCs here," prompting her quick response. Right away, my lord. May I ask why you're gathering them? The corners of Kim Jinwoo's mouth curled up. It's time for you people. With a twisted glint in his eyes and a sickly smile, he finished. To transform into goblins. Right on cue, Hasman and Hallen eagerly sidled up to him and asked, You called for us, my lord. We heard there's something we can do for Arsalan. We'll help out with everything we've got. Forcing Kim Jinwoo to issue a helpless reprimand. Stop shoving your faces right up against mine. Please just sit down. The two of them quickly complied, asking, What kind of work are we talking about? We'll do our best to assist. To which he looked at them and said, Tia didn't tell you guys? Well, I'll explain as soon as Tia gets here. Suddenly a voice from behind made him jump. I'm right here, Jinwoo. Tia stepped forward with dark circles under her eyes, prompting him to shriek in sheer terror. What the hell? Glaring at her in utter exasperation, Kim Jinwoo snapped. Cut it out. Is invading other people's personal space the latest trend or something? You scared the living daylights out of me. Looking at her disheveled and exhausted state, he asked, Anyway, what happened to you? Is something wrong? Tia turned on him with a sarcastic edge. Is something wrong? Are you seriously asking me that? Enraged, she recounted, Why does the Magic Tower keep churning out such completely useless titles? That damned hero. I mean, that hero said if I did a good job, I'd get a title. He spent the entire day at the Adventurers Guild pulling stupid pranks right in front of my face. He kept causing a ruckus and stealing things, causing Kim Jinwoo to offer some helpless damage control. Calm down. She ranted on furiously. Please stop wasting precious magic stone energy on such absurd nonsense. I get it, all right, leaving him to offer a sheepish laugh. I know, I'm sorry. Kim Jinwoo turned his attention back to the other two men and asked, How have things been with Hallen and Hasman lately? Hallen lowered his head and explained, The heroes are starting to suspect my true identity. I was just sitting there quietly doing my job, but they were openly discussing whether they should just murder me. Hasman bowed his head as well, chiming in, Same here. They don't have a damn clue what's actually going on, yet they act like they know everything. The atmosphere in the room instantly plunged into gloomy depression. Looking up, Tia asked, So why did you call us here? To which Kim Jinwoo quickly answered, Tiras, didn't you tell them? Because I wanted a front row seat to everyone's reactions. You guys really are one of a kind. He held out a gaming controller. Here, take these. Tia took one, turned it over in her hands, and asked, What is this? Prompting his swift explanation. A goblin controller. The three of you are going to transform into goblins and slaughter the heroes to help them grind experience. Hearing this, Tia nearly burst into tears as she tried to hand it back. What? Now you want us to stoop so low as to control those filthy creatures? And on top of that, we have to turn into goblins and get trampled and killed by heroes. This is going way too far. He quickly reached out to stop her, insisting, It's all for Arsalan. The heroes need to be wiped out so the subjugation force gets formed faster. Tia flashed a cunning, sly grin. It's all for Arsalan. The heroes need to be wiped out so the subjugation force gets formed faster. Besides, this actually looks kind of fun. How do you use it? Prompting Kim Jinwoo to reply with a heavy sigh, I'll explain. The directional pad on the left is for movement, and pressing the buttons on the right executes designated actions. The controls have been simplified, so it shouldn't be too hard. He waved a hand dismissively. I'll turn on the display screen, give it a try. Tia looked up at the screen and began testing the controls. Like this. The goblin on the screen started moving, leaving her thrilled. It's moving. Hallen stepped closer out of curiosity, muttering, This is actually pretty cool, as Kim Jinwoo smiled and said, You're doing great, prompting a delighted Tia to declare, Just leave it to me. I'll give these heroes so much extra motivation we'll have a massive subjugation army in no time. Hallen glanced over and asked, Are you actually enjoying this? To which Tia retorted cheerfully, It feels pretty great. Sometimes you just want to control completely conscious people and make them dance to your tune. Clearing his throat loudly, Hallen chimed in, My lord, I'm by myself practically every day. I have tons of free time. While Hasman added from the side, Strategy and tactics happen to be my specialty too. Kim Jinwoo smiled and conceded, All right, I'll trust you guys to handle this. Clutching their controllers, the group beamed with excitement. It can even backpedal. Hey, looks like I'm not lonely anymore. Kim Jinwoo could only stare in speechless amusement as they laughed and joked among themselves. What an ugly little creature. See, having this around makes a guy like me look not half bad. Kim Jinwoo quickly zoomed his perspective in and snapped a screenshot. The photo, capturing everyone laughing and joking together, was saved instantly. Without a moment's hesitation, he set it as his phone wallpaper. Kim Jinwoo smiled warmly as he gazed at the happy, bustling snapshot. He thought to himself, Once the corrupted goblins are defeated, the lowest tier invasion will be unveiled. marking the official start of Act 1 in the main storyline. Setting his phone down on the dining table with a smile, he mused. Well then, what if we time the launch of Soul Link's second wave to coincide with that? Suddenly, a loud slam echoed across the table. Everyone sitting around the dining table jolted to their feet in unison. They all fell completely silent, copying each other's exact posture. After that, everyone scattered in different directions without a single word. Kim Jinwoo glanced in their direction, questioning his own existence. What the heck? A while later in Arsalan, shouts echoed out, "Join the Goblin Subjugation Squad. Looking for top-tier players to wipe out those bastards." The streets were extremely bustling with activity. "Let's team up. I saw the Adventurers Guild just posted a recruitment notice. We definitely have to wipe out those scumbags. I just managed to secure a spot in a party too. My herbs, 10 hours of hard work went down the drain in the blink of an eye." Kim Jinwoo stood before this loud, bustling scene, feeling utterly bewildered by the world. Breaking out in a cold sweat, he blankly asked, "What on earth is going on out here?" At that moment, an ugly goblin lunged forward. Faint voices rang out, "Support go. Leave it to me." The warrior currently in combat struggled desperately to hold his ground. Are they out of their minds? Since when do goblins know how to use magic? His eyes turned upward in utter shock. Another goblin leaped down from above straight onto his head. At that moment, Tia laughed with malicious glee. "How does it taste?" They cheerfully high-fived to celebrate. That synergy was top-notch. "I knew it." As Kim Jinwoo stepped in and spoke up, "Turns out the three of you were behind this." Tiras turned to him with an exhausted expression and asked, "You're here, master." He looked at their gaming-addicted faces and thought to himself, their faces look completely haggard. Have they been playing this non-stop without sleeping? It doesn't look much like they're nurturing heroes, more like they're torturing them instead. Well, must be my imagination. An excited scream rang out again, caught another foolish hero. Awesome! Leaving Kim Jinwoo firm in his thoughts, she's definitely torturing them. He stepped closer and asked, "Has the goblin data just been updated?" While Tyr ignored him, completely engrossed in controlling the game. Die, all you bastards." The screen displayed some stats. Level 10, Hero Slayer, corrupted goblin race due to invasion. Combat record, 24 minutes ago eliminated the thief, 12 minutes ago eliminated the pickpocket, 1 minute ago eliminated the girl who wrestled a bear. He looked at the scene in the game and thought, Hero Slayer, don't tell me that title was handed down by the Magic Tower too. Just how many heroes have you killed? Hallen turned around to suggest, "Tia, I think it's time we execute that part." And she cheerfully replied, "You're right, I almost forgot the most important part." On the screen, a goblin walked up to the downed man. It placed its foot right on top of the hero's head. After that, the goblin continuously brandished the weapon in its hand. The other people witnessing this scene grew extremely furious. "Hey, look over there. Are they stepping on our teammate? Those damn goblins have really lost their minds." Tia was in a state of supreme bliss at that moment. What can you pathetic heroes possibly do against us? Absolutely nothing, right? Kim Jinwoo stood off to the side, feeling helpless. Where on earth did they learn those tricks from? He smiled to himself. This should be stimulating enough. The result was just as expected as weapons quickly raised in unison all around. The impact spread wider and stronger than anticipated. Kim Jinwoo transformed back into a handsome young man, smirking. Now the real show begins. He strode forward with an imposing, majestic aura. Kim Jinwoo wore a determined smile. Time to go. At that moment, Thompson stared hard at the person across from him and asked, "Yurugum, my friend, are you really planning to go all the way with this?" Hearing that, the old man stood up straight with a grumpy expression and replied, "Good grief, you talk too much. I'm ready, let's start," prompting Thompson to laugh and say, "Look how confident you are." The old man raised his large hammer high while speaking. "Let's see if you can keep that look on your face after we're done." Next, he let out a loud roar and smashed it hard against the iron shield resting on the table. Instantly, it flared up with a brilliant light. A second later, it burst outward in an explosion. Once finished, Thompson chuckled teasingly. "My hand slipped, my bad, what a pity," as the system immediately announced. "Enhancement failed. Iron shield +4, leaving Yurugum across the table, staring blankly. The old man cheerfully added a few more words. "At least you still kept the shield. Honestly, you're lucky," which made Yurugum finally realize the situation as he clutched his head and wailed, "Damn it, my +4 shield." At that moment, Hebyul walked over and asked inquisitively, "Yurugum, are you seriously going to enhance your gear right on the eve of the expedition?" As the man started crying and whining, "Hebyul, console me, please, my enhancement failed." Hearing that, the girl looked at him with disdain. "You absolute dopamine addict. It took you forever just to get it to +4 after 20 attempts, and now you're messing with it again. Hebiel immediately added, I heard the success rate to reach +5 is only 5%. As Urugum turned back and snapped, That's not enough. This dopamine gentleman needs a much stronger dose than that. On the other side, Thompson chimed in with a teasing jab. Surely you aren't giving up here, are you? Is a hero's courage really that weak? Urugum picked up his iron shield and declared with a booming, determined voice, Let's do it one more time. I'm betting my entire fortune on this. While Hebiel, on the other hand, knitted her brows in exhaustion and muttered, I can't bear to watch this anymore. And Thompson laughed cheerfully. That's the spirit, exactly what I expect from a hero. While Hebiel whispered a reminder from the side, Excuse me, we're about to set out soon, what if your gear breaks? Right on cue, a voice called out from behind, Hebiel, there you are. Turning around, she saw Kim Jinwoo and greeted him, Leon, and he cheerfully praised, You've grown a lot since the last time we met. Hebiel shyly approached and asked, What wind blew you over here? With Kim Jinwoo smiling as he replied, Before we head out to subjugate the goblins, I'm taking a walk around the village to check on how everyone is doing. He gently explained further, Since I'm the one who requested this, I wanted to see if I could be of any help to the heroes. Hebiel admiringly blurted out, Our Leon is so considerate. From behind, Urugum suddenly leaped forward and shouted, Leon, causing her to panic and scream, You scared the life out of me. Without hesitation, the man immediately pleaded in tears, Please, you have to help me, I'm begging you. Leaving Kim Jinwoo blankly asking, And who might this be? Hebiel quickly introduced him. This is Urugum, the tank of our party. As you can see, he's a dopamine addict, an enhancement addict. Hearing that, he nodded understandingly and replied, I see, but is there anything I can help with? To which Urugum eagerly pointed at the shield and said, Just stand right here while I do the enhancement, that's all. Prompting Hebiel to give a scornful evaluation. Are you seriously using Leon as a good luck charm? The man didn't care and immediately issued the order. All right, Thompson, let's do it. With the old man giving a cheerful thumbs up. You got it. At this point, Kim Jinwoo obliged and stepped closer, while Urugum closed his eyes and clenched his fists in prayer. Thompson raised his large hammer to prepare for the strike. A second later, he brought it down hard, creating a loud bang. Instantly, the iron shield flared with a powerful glow. Right away, the system popped up a notification. Enhancement successful. Iron shield +5. While a brand new iron shield was unveiled at the same time. Seeing this, Urugum laughed in triumph. I got the server's very first +5 enhanced item, and its stats are top tier. As he bowed repeatedly, Thank you so much, everything is thanks to you, Leon. With Kim Jinwoo smiling awkwardly, I didn't really do anything. The man glanced around and teased, Hebiel, do you see this +5 shield? Where did she go anyway? Or maybe losers without +5 gear can't even see it. Leaving short little Hebiel down below gritting her teeth in bitter frustration, this guy. When the system suddenly chimed in with another notification. User has achieved sub-goal, successful enhancement to +5. Reward, 1,000,001, causing Hebiel to gasp in admiration. No way, seriously. Refusing to lose, she turned back and aggressively requested, Leon, please rub my bow just once. With Kim Jinwoo cheerfully answering, Of course, I hope it succeeds. Hebiel immediately placed her bow on the table and pleaded earnestly, Thompson, please enhance it. Instantly, the system announced, Enhancement successful, floral wood bow +5, leaving even Hebiel in utter disbelief as she blurted out, No way, it even hit the max stat bonus. Magic is actually real. Hebiel happily jumped up and down holding her bow. I'm so happy, Leon, I love you so much. As someone else walked up to Kim Jinwoo and called out, Leon. Following that, a crowd of villagers smiled gently and chimed in, Please rub my weapon too, Leon. My turn next, please. He immediately answered cheerfully, Sure, that's not hard at all. While Thompson sat frozen in complete shock. Kim Jinwoo turned back with a smile and muttered to himself, Have fun with that pile. While the old man's eyes rolled back until they were completely white and stiff, weakly crying out, Save me. Hebiel firmly spoke up. All right, Leon, Thompson, we're counting on both of you. It's time to upgrade. Come on, it's crowded here, so please line up in an orderly fashion. Just a few seconds later, the system continuously blasted notifications of successful enhancements. Finished at last, Thompson sat in a corner, completely drained and dead-eyed as he muttered, I am totally exhausted. Hebiel walked beside him, cheerfully praising, Leon, your buff is seriously top tier. While Kim Jinwoo humbly replied, Not at all, it's just that the blacksmith has exceptional skills. Whereas Urugum slumped in depression, thinking, My title of server's first +5 enhancer lost all its value in the blink of an eye. Up ahead, someone suddenly appeared and called out joyfully, Hebiel, Urugum, I heard you guys successfully enhanced your gear. He pulled out a small guitar and suggested, I composed a celebratory song for you guys. Want to listen? Leaving Hebyul helpless as she sighed. The romantic bard is here to ruin the mood. Tron began to sing, Congratulations, may your light reign supreme in the hammer. As Kim Jinwoo turned and asked softly, Do you know this guy? And Hebyul answered with an awkward smile, I have no idea how he even ended up joining our party. Whenever he's around, those crazy goblins don't even dare approach us. Hearing that, Kim Jinwoo suddenly realized, Ah, right, elf hearing is extremely sensitive. No wonder she couldn't hear me lately even when I called out right beside her. But the color of that soul felt eerily, strangely familiar. At that moment, Kim Jinwoo suddenly recalled his older brother's words. Jinwoo, the light of your soul is rainbow-colored. At the same time, a system notification popped up. Trait B, unyielding dream. He once dreamed of becoming a star but had to let go of the mic in despair. This time he will never fall, no matter what happens. Hebyul sensed something was off and stepped closer to ask, Leon, is something wrong? With Kim Jinwoo softly replying, It's nothing. Suddenly a voice rang out nearby, catching both of their attention. I'll take the lead, so just keep quiet and follow me. Life Hunt sneered upon hearing this. Scout dogs usually lead the way, so I'll allow it, prompting the Grand Duke of the North to angrily shout, What? Has this bastard lost his damn mind? The two of them started bickering again as Lee Hyunseong chimed in with a taunt. Don't bark so fiercely. I'm just trying to teach things that keep running their mouths incorrectly. While Miyu gritted her teeth in anger and fired back. Look at that attitude. You want to settle this right here and now. At that moment, Kim Jinwoo stepped closer and gently mediated. Please wait a moment, heroes, we're about to set off. So instead, why not save your strength to fight the goblins? Causing Miyu to call out in surprise, Leon. And Lee Hyunseong to say, Oh man, I let you see this embarrassing side of me again. Suddenly, Kim Jinwoo realized, wait a minute. These people look way too familiar. Familiar images quickly flashed through his mind. My grandfather and my older sister. Turns out that's grandfather's new body. But let's put that aside for a second. He recalled his older sister's gentle expressions. Jinwoo, I cooked some ramyeon, want to eat some? Jinwoo, look at this, isn't it cute? Then he looked at Miyu currently screaming aggressively. Get your spirits up, you morons, wipe them out. Leaving him mentally exhausted, why did my older sister turn into this? Anyway, it was unbelievable that both of them had actually established guilds and become guild masters. Hunter and Valhalla. Kim Jinwoo knitted his brows in thought. To establish a guild during this event, you need 1,000 contribution points. Even playing without a single break, reaching 1,000 points is practically impossible. Is the Osung group actually operating normally or what? At that moment, the people behind him noticed him and cried out in surprise. It's Leon. Leon, you're here. Everyone chimed in simultaneously. We gathered here to wipe out the goblins. We rallied after hearing the request from you and Hebyul. He turned back and spoke politely. Thank you truly for responding to my request, with her gently replying, Of course, you helped us out after all. Then Kim Jinwoo read off names one by one. Neo Piro, Steel number 18, Honeypot is mine. Nananim, Lantnim, Lightning Shikhainim, prompting some people to fangirl in awe. Leon just said my name. He gently offered a proposal. All of you have grown up wonderfully. Fighting alongside the heroes is my greatest honor. Will you grant me this privilege? Everyone cheered in unison. Of course, let's fight together. Smiling, Kim Jinwoo replied, Wonderful, let's move out. He took the lead and walked toward the city gates. At that moment, Haina spoke in a clear, resonant voice. Knights of Ella. She and the soldiers raised their swords high and shouted in unison. Greetings, heroes. Next, a firm, powerful foot stepped down onto the ground. Kim Jinwoo and everyone else marched aggressively outside. The time quickly turned to dusk, and the group was still marching vigorously. Yorugum looked around excitedly. This scenery is epic. The man cheerfully added, With scenery this nice, I suddenly crave a drink, while someone from behind enthusiastically suggested, I brought some fruit wine, want some? Nearby, Tron quickly whipped out a notepad and frantically scribbled. Looking at scenery this gorgeous, inspiration just keeps gushing out. Gotta write it down before I forget. While Miyu grumbled irritably, Can you stop playing that weird heavy metal music? At this point, everyone's morale was extremely confident as Kim Jinwoo turned back to observe and thought. Maybe because we treat this like a game, it doesn't feel too serious. He smiled to himself, no, this is enough. If we force them to fight, they'll be no different from forced laborers. From now on, let's keep selecting heroes, training them, helping them grow and fight. When a sudden voice called out, My lord. Tia, sitting in the back, also yelled out excitedly, We're ready too. The goblins have gotten stronger as well, look forward to it. The people in the back held up 2 fingers and cheerfully announced. Hallen and Hasman went to prepare their part, and all the resting villagers are watching from our secret base. Hearing that, Kim Jinwoo smiled softly and replied, "Good, the people over here should be arriving soon too." Everyone quickly arrived at the foggy forest. He made a silent decision. Time to start staging round 5. Everyone walked inside, casting watchful glances around. Puzzled, people looked in all directions and muttered, "Why is the fog suddenly this thick? Can't see the path anymore." Okay, this is getting serious. They definitely put a lot of effort into this. Up above, Kim Jinwoo calmly explained, "Looks like the erosion is affecting this area. To think all of this is happening inside a magic barrier," leaving Hebyul to gasp in surprise. "What?" At the same time, a creature with purple tentacles approached, while Kim Jinwoo remained completely unaware as he continued talking. "They definitely know we're coming. A powerful entity is definitely interfering," he solemnly and cautiously warned. "For now, we should fall back." But before he could finish speaking, a tentacle lunged forward to attack. Fortunately, he managed to raise his sword just in time to block right in front of him, instantly turning around to shout a warning. "Everyone fall back. This is an erosion attack." Tentacles lashed out below as well, startling Hebyul and the others into screaming. "A sacrificial ritual right in the middle of the battlefield." Urugum looked up and shrieked in shock. "What the hell is this?" At that moment, a massive entity shot up right in front of Hebyul. They instantly coalesced into a monster, readying itself for an attack. At the same time, a decisive sword thrust straight down into its body. The owner of that blade was none other than Kim Jinwoo, who let out a mighty roar while putting all his strength into it, causing his sword to start glowing brightly before frantically turning back to yell, "Is everyone okay?" With Hebyul hesitatingly replying, "Yes, thanks to you, Leon," while Miyu looked up at the sky and screamed, "Hey, wait a minute." Her expression turned fearful as she trembled and spoke. "Something is wrong with the sky." In midair, the sun was instantly swallowed by a dark shadow. Sinister auras began radiating downward from it. Everyone gasped in unison, "A black sun." After that, the sound of a drum began to beat. Waves of goblins began appearing, roaring angrily. They lined up neatly across the mountain peaks in front of Kim Jinwoo's group. Down here, Urugum panicked at the sight and yelled, "Everyone, I think we're actually doomed." While Hebyul blankly echoed, "There are way too many of them." And Tron dropped his jaw in shock. "This is genuinely a war." At that moment, Kim Jinwoo spoke in a solemn tone. "Turns out it was a trap. They've been waiting for us." He scanned his surroundings and cautiously continued. "To set up a trap this massive, they must have known in advance where the subjugation force was departing from and how large its scale was," leading Miyu to slowly figure it out. "Meaning there's a traitor inside Eden." A shovel slammed down hard onto the ground. Tia, controlling the goblins, smiled and shouted, "That's never gonna happen." Down below, the warriors began to tremble and stutter. "Look at their numbers. And there's even a frenzied ancient dragon. We're dead for sure." At that moment, Kim Jinwoo raised his hand decisively and declared, "This is all my fault. The heroes aren't ready to face that corrupted dragon on their own yet." He snapped his fingers and made a decision. "I will send the heroes back to Eden." Next, shield icons appeared in front of everyone one by one while the system immediately announced, "Leon is using all his power to send you back to Eden. Do you agree? If you die on the battlefield of demonic souls, you cannot resurrect in Eden within 3 days, and the death penalty increases by 50%. Seeing this, Hebyul anxiously asked back, "Wait, what about you, Leon?" Hearing that, Kim Jinwoo simply smiled and stayed silent. Meanwhile, Hebyul waited anxiously for a response. Standing tall, she declared in a clear voice, "If you take all of us back, Leon will be left all alone. Even if it means death, I want to fight by Leon's side until the very end." Miyu and the others chimed in with fierce cheers. "Well said. Hurry it up, minions. A Valhalla warrior never backs down. Did you really think we'd cower before a bunch of trash? Let's fight." Nearby, Lee Hyunseong and the rest were no exception, shouting excitedly, "All right, hunters, time to hunt. Tonight's dinner is goblin meat, and we're gonna turn you guys into a full set of goblin armor. How's your goblin hunting going over there?" Tronile and the remaining members raised their weapons high, cheering happily. "Let me play a tune in your honor. There's no way we're backing down from that trash." Conversely, Kim Jinwoo asked with genuine concern, "Heroes, things are going to be way harsher this time around. Are you guys really sure about this?" Hebyul gripped her hands tight and answered decisively, "Of course." With that settled, he raised his sword high and shouted boldly, "Thank you, everyone. As long as the heroes don't give up, even if this soul is shattered to pieces, I will stand by your sides." At that exact moment, Everyone's weapons simultaneously flared with a brilliant radiance. Glancing down, Lee Hyun-seong murmured, "Is this a buff effect?" While Miyu gasped in awe, "I can feel an incredible surge of power." Then Kim Jinwoo pointed his sword forward and roared with all his might, "For Arsalan!" The moment he finished, everyone let out a fierce war cry and charged forward together. On the screen reflecting Kim Jinwoo and everyone rushing into battle, a voice rang out, "Now the real fight begins." Sitting nearby, Thompson turned to ask, "Hey Tia, if the heroes choose to retreat, the worst-case scenario is that all of them get corrupted, right?" She smiled as she explained, "It doesn't matter either way. They can't escape anyway because the storyline is forced to progress, so that part just gets skipped." Looking admiringly, Thompson replied, "As expected of Lady Tia." Privately, however, her thoughts took a different turn. In that case, they probably gave up on expecting anything from the heroes. But Jinwoo was right. Those heroes from another world really are fighting the monsters for our sake. A subtle, knowing smile touched Tia's lips. "And if that's the case, I'll just have to give it everything I've got to wipe them out." Yurugum and his comrades surged ahead, the big man roaring, "Shield squad, advance." He poured all his strength into shoving the goblins back, yelling, "Charge! Shield bash, burn 'em all to ashes." Simultaneously, a system notification popped up. "Shield bash. Rank E+. Charge into an enemy with your shield to deal impact damage and inflict a stun effect on the target hit. Effectiveness scales with the shield's defense stats." Sweeping the monsters away with powerful swings, Yurugum laughed and hollered, "Now this is what it feels like to use a +5 shield, you bastards." Even so, he failed to block in time as a goblin leaped straight onto his shield. With his guard dropped, the creature immediately began hammering away at him. Around them, the others were slowly getting overwhelmed, desperately shouting reminders to each other. "Cover each other. Hold the formation." Another teammate, distracted for a split second, took a goblin club straight to the head. The monsters swiftly swarmed in to suppress them one by one. From behind, Kim Jinwoo sprinted forward and called out, "Yurugum, I'm going over." The moment he spoke, he leaped directly onto the big man's shield as a stepping stone. Using Yurugum's boost, Kim Jinwoo vaulted high up into the air. Letting out a fierce roar, he raised his sword high, preparing to strike. The next second, he plunged straight down into the thick of the goblin horde. Seeing this, the monsters frantically converged to attack. Then a blinding flash of light erupted. A moment later, lifeless goblin corpses lay scattered all across the ground. In the middle of it all, Kim Jinwoo propped himself up on his sword and declared with fierce determination, "I will protect the heroes." At the same time, Miyu yelled out resolutely, "Leon has shown us what we need to do. Valhalla warriors, move out." With one accord, everyone charged forward to attack the goblins. Gritting her teeth, Miyu swung her axe with blinding speed. She locked onto her target, getting ready to strike. Right ahead of her, a ferocious goblin lunged forward. Unfazed, Miyu glared right back at it with a sharp warning. She went on a rampage, knocking down goblins left and right. But while she was distracted, another creature crept up behind her for a sneak attack. Before it could do anything, two throwing daggers buried themselves in its face, eliciting a painful screech. The one who had landed the precise knife throw was none other than Lee Hyun-seong. Flashing a smile as she zipped past to high-five him, Miyu said, "Nice hunting," to which Lee Hyun-seong replied cheerfully, "For Valhalla." Nearby, Hebyul raised her voice to shout, "Ranged squad, get ready." The moment she screamed, "Fire!" all her teammates followed suit without hesitation. Others raised their staves, shouting in unison, "Fireball! Wind blade! Magic arrow!" Fiery orbs rained down one after another, scorching the goblins' bodies. Even so, the mages were sweating bullets, panicking. "There are too many. I'm about to run out of mana." The robed player in the middle turned to ask, "Did you bring enough potions?" While the black-haired player beside him sighed, "Even if I did, it wouldn't be enough." Standing back and watching in a daze, Tranile thought to himself, "Everyone's fighting with everything they've got. This is the true heat of a battlefield." Filled with sudden excitement, he pulled out his guitar and declared boldly, "In that case, I'll play a battle hymn just for you guys." Then twin currents of fire and water mana materialized simultaneously. Everyone muttered under their breath as the music started playing and mana gathered around him. "Wait! Playing music restores his stamina and mana." Realizing what was happening, everyone shouted, "If you're running low on mana, absorb it from the romantic bard." While Tranile strummed away happily, "I'm more than happy to keep playing if my performance gives you strength. If my music can help, I'm more than glad to do it." United as one, all the squads charged forward to lay into the goblins. Hebyul seemed to notice something and offered a gentle reminder. Little by little, we're pushing forward. Watching the situation unfold with a glimmer of hope, she thought, no matter how many goblins there are, at this rate we can actually win. Right at that moment, something came crashing down with a massive thud, sending debris flying in all directions. Panic instantly rippled through everyone. What the hell is that? Something just fell from the sky? That's a giant goblin with an oversized head stepped forward, fiercely wielding a massive hammer, prompting everyone to blurt out in horror. The hero slayer. It slammed the head of its hammer hard into the ground, sending shockwaves rippling outward. The shockwaves washed over the scattered corpses of the fallen goblins nearby. The very next second, the corpses' fingers began to twitch. One by one, they contorted and dragged themselves back to their feet, sending everyone into an absolute frenzy. You've got to be shitting me. The dead goblins are standing back up. Not only had they revived, but they were even stronger, gradually pushing the warriors back as everyone cried out in sheer terror. Come on, are you kidding me? How are we supposed to beat this? While the system chimed in with an update. Heroes remaining, 639. The ferocious goblins went on a wild rampage, cutting down the warriors one by one. Heroes remaining, 570. Heroes remaining, 509. Over on the other side, Kim Jinwoo charged fiercely at the giant goblin and roared, "Your opponent is me." It tried to turn around, only to be blinded by a dazzling flash of light. Taking advantage of the opening, he swung his sword with all his might, though the monster managed to block it just in time. Following up instantly, he slashed across the giant goblin's body with blinding speed. Its massive frame finally collapsed to the ground, cleaved cleanly in two. Everyone cheered joyfully. Leon defeated the hero slayer. But right then, a strange projectile came flying through the air. It shot straight into the body of the bisected giant goblin. Dark, ominous auras began swirling around its corpse. The goblin bared its sharp, jagged teeth. Its severed halves fused back together completely, as it came roaring back to life. Kim Jinwoo gritted his teeth in sheer anger, while Hebyul asked in sheer panic, "Leon, what is going on?" Pointing up at the giant pillar ahead, he explained, "Do you see that black pillar? It's gathering mana, continuously summoning and reviving them through a magic circle." Hebyul nodded and asked urgently, "How do we stop it?" To which he replied with a grave expression, "If I'm not mistaken, there's an energy core right in the center. I'll do my absolute best to carve a path so you guys." Hebyul broke into a determined grin. "Right, we'll destroy that core." Kim Jinwoo offered a confident smile. Charging forward alongside the others, he shouted, "All right, let's move." The goblins roared back and rushed to attack, pouring all his remaining power into his blade. Kim Jinwoo swung forward decisively to carve out a path. He finally managed to close the distance toward the red pillar. Seizing the opening down below, everyone yelled, "The way is open, run." Suddenly, a goblin lunged out to attack Hebyul. Without a second thought, Kim Jinwoo leaped in to shield her, shouting, "Hebyul." Taking the blow head-on, he gritted his teeth against the pain. Even so, he easily sidestepped another incoming monster. Kim Jinwoo collapsed to his knees in exhaustion, prompting a frantic cry from Hebyul. "Leon." He gave a weak, dismissive hand gesture. "Go." Yorugum and the remaining soldiers pushed through, shouting, "Keep your eyes ahead, just keep running, we'll keep this path open." While the system announced, "Heroes remaining, 192. Panting heavily, the mages cried out in despair. "Damn it, I'm completely out of mana. Screw it, we're going to die by these goblins anyway, we might as well self-destruct." The group decided to gamble everything on a mana explosion as the counter continued to plummet. Heroes remaining, 42. Gritting her teeth, Hebyul forced herself to sprint forward. Glancing at the massive army of goblins blocking the way, she thought, "There's still this many." Deciding to take to the air, she backed off and called out to the remaining two, "Keep going until the end." Pouring every ounce of her remaining strength into her floral bow, she drew back the string. With fierce resolve, she shouted, "Spirit arrow dance." As the arrows released, they blasted the goblins backward. Having poured her absolute last drop of energy into that final attack, Hebyul smiled tiredly and muttered, "We have to destroy that core." As she began to fall, the goblins eagerly rushed forward. Miyu looked back in anguish at the monsters closing in on Hebyul as the system coldly notified, "Heroes remaining, 2. Lee Hyunseong kept running, calling out, "Don't stop. We can't let our comrades' sacrifices go to waste." To which Miyu snapped back, "I know, old man." She launched herself into a high leap. Mid-air, Miyu readied her axe, while Lee Hyunseong prepared a sharp arrow down below. Reaching the target, they struck in unison. The core began to fracture down the middle. A split second later, it shattered into a million pieces, prompting Miyu to cheer. "We did it. We destroyed the core." Smiling triumphantly, she added, "It's finally over." When a skeletal hand suddenly emerged from the air above, accompanied by a chilling threat. "Who told you it was over?" Miyu and Lee Hyunseong froze in wide-eyed shock. A skeletal figure with terrifying red eyes spat out a venomous scold, "Arrogant trash. You won't be leaving here alive." Surveying the devastated battlefield before him, Hasmon declared coldly, "The heroes have caused quite enough trouble. Die. Dark magic gathered around his staff as countless magic circles filled the sky. You pathetic remnants of the light. Terrifying magic poured down onto the battlefield. Seeing the incoming attack, the heroes realized they couldn't block it. Right before the magic struck, Leon stepped forward alone. He raised his sword to take the destructive blow head-on. The explosion completely swallowed his form. As the blinding light slowly faded, the attack had been successfully blocked, but the knight slowly dropped to one knee. The two remaining heroes rushed to his side. "Lord Leon, are you all right?" Hasmon looked down at them with utter disdain. "You pathetic insects clinging so desperately to life." Another massive magic circle materialized beneath him. Shortly after, a gigantic troll stepped out from the portal. Pointing his staff at the exhausted heroes, Hasmon commanded, "Go, finish them." The giant troll immediately charged straight toward Leon. Despite his heavy injuries, Leon slowly forced himself back to its feet. They had come too far to lose here. Turning back to look at the remaining heroes, he smiled softly. "We didn't come all this way just to lose." The heroes immediately replied in unison. "We will fight by your side until the very end." The troll swung its massive weapon downward. Leon met the crushing blow with his sword, pushing the monster back through sheer iron willpower. Meanwhile, the entire battle was being broadcast live across the world, leaving millions of viewers in absolute disbelief. One viewer slammed a fist down on his desk in rage. "The devs are trying to kill every single player with an impossible event." Clenching his fist with deep regret, he muttered, "I should have bought Soul Link during the first wave instead of doubting it." Right then, a notification popped up on the screen. "Goddess Ella of the event is calling upon future heroes. Are you willing to lend us your strength?" Across the country, countless people received the exact same notification, leaving viewers stunned that even the audience was being allowed to participate. In a crowded subway car, passengers looked at each other after receiving the prompt. "Future heroes, does that mean us?" Without a single second of hesitation, everyone tapped yes. Back on the battlefield, Leon was still locked in combat with the troll. As his sword clashed against the monster, a brilliant beam of light suddenly washed over the entire battlefield. A hero stared in awe. "What is this light?" "It's hurting the troll." Leon smiled. "The goddess has summoned the will of future heroes." The warriors asked in confusion what he meant. Leon explained. "The goddess sacrificed everything to summon heroes from another world. She has witnessed the courage and willpower of all of you. You are the only ones who can stop the erosion. Thanks to you, we can finally dream of a future free from the curse." He gripped his sword tightly. "So, please lend me your strength." The two heroes in the back immediately replied, "We will do whatever it takes." Seeing the battlefield flooded with divine light, Hasmon clicked his tongue annoyedly. "So you've managed to summon the goddess's strength. I'll wipe every last one of you out before things get any more annoying." Just as he was about to chant another spell, a calm voice echoed across the battlefield. "I cannot allow that. They are not lives that someone like you has the right to touch." Hasmon raised his head to look up at the sky. The goddess, a pillar of divine light, descended from the sky. It struck Hasmon and blew him down to the ground. He screamed in agony as the divine light burned his immortal body. Floating in midair was a young maiden radiating a brilliant glow. "Heroes, you have fought wonderfully. My name is Eri. I am a servant of the goddess. Your courage has become the guiding light that brought me to this world." Leon immediately knelt down. "Greetings, Saintess." Eri smiled gently. "We can exchange greetings later. The battle is not over yet." Hasmon stood up angrily. "I'll kill you. I'll kill everyone." Eri remained calm. "We only managed to land that blow by sheer luck. But just the two of us still aren't enough to defeat him." A female warrior asked confusedly, "What do you mean?" Eri smiled. "Just us alone is impossible, but I won't be fighting alone." She raised both hands up to the sky. "The future heroes have answered our call." Dozens, hundreds, and then thousands of massive magic arrays appeared across the battlefield. A system notification popped up. "Saintess Eri uses the light of miracle granted by future heroes. Mass resurrection skill activated." Golden light covered the battlefield. Every fallen hero opened their eyes one by one. Hebiel was the first to stand up, then the second, then the third. Before long, the entire battlefield was filled with newly resurrected warriors. The endless army rushed straight toward Hasmon and the troll. Seeing countless heroes come back to life, Leon couldn't help but smile. Meanwhile, inside the magic tower, complete chaos erupted. The mages frantically screamed that the calculations were collapsing. The tower's processing capacity had reached its absolute limit. The illusion magic maintaining the game world began to destabilize, seeing everyone panicking. Tia immediately lashed her whip hard and continuously issued commands. "Connect directly to the magic tower. Process the calculations yourself. Convert all black smoke into light particles. Turn off all unnecessary visual effects. If the tower overloads, connect directly to the mana network and handle it yourself. As the mages hurried to comply, Tia gritted her teeth hard. This campaign consumed much more mana than she had anticipated. At this rate, before the next phase of the plan, the magic tower would need a major upgrade. Returning to the battlefield, the troll was roaring furiously at that moment. It slammed down hard toward the heroes, sending them flying backward. Some were nearly killed on the spot, but right at that moment, Eri clasped her hands together to chant a spell and spoke up to boost their morale. Hold your formation, heroes. Instantly, the heroes received a blessing, and their health bars were fully restored on the spot. Regaining their momentum, they burned with enthusiasm and charged back into battle, driven by Leon and the Saintess as their motivation. They plunged into a fierce, fearless assault against the troll. The mage squad wasn't resting either, continuously casting spells to hurl fireballs toward the troll. The troll was forced onto the defensive under the relentless barrage from the heroes. Seeing this, Hasmon couldn't just stand by and watch. He gathered spheres of dark magic and hurled them toward the battlefield. Seeing that, Eri casually cast a blessing. Instantly, explosions erupted everywhere. Eri shouted that she would hold Hasmon back while everyone else continued the attack, leaving the heroes filled with admiration. Down below, the heroes grew hyped up from receiving the Saintess's blessing. Eri flashed her signature smile to encourage everyone to keep their spirits up. She used her succubus breath ability to induce excitement, sacrificing mental resistance in exchange for overwhelming physical stats. Meanwhile, right beside her, Hallen was panting heavily. He was desperately trying his hardest to mask Eri's demonic aura into holy miracles whenever she cast a spell. He muttered to himself that this was a sacred trial, and as the last surviving pope in this world, I must fulfill my sacred duty. I refuse to fail in the role that destiny has forced upon me. He let out a loud roar. Maximum support accumulation, take that troll down. Miyu leaped forward, wielding her battle axe. She delivered a strike right to the center of the troll's head, sending blood splattering everywhere. Its entire body was split in half. Then it crashed down to the ground before everyone's eyes. The troll slowly dissolved into ashes. The hero faction had pulled it off. They enthusiastically celebrated their victory. Hasmon continued his role, cursing the heroes and acting shocked that they had killed the troll. Leon shouted at Hasmon at that moment, telling him he had run out of trump cards. But Hasmon showed no fear, sternly firing back. Do not let arrogance blind you, Leon. I will personally erase the final trace of the royal bloodline from this world. Kim Jinwoo, inside Leon's body, secretly contacted Hasmon, asking what he thought about boosting the special effects for this final segment. Hasmon excitedly replied, doing it right now. He shouted, warming up now, master, and then launched spheres of dark energy toward the heroes. On this side, Leon raised his sword high and raised his voice. I will borrow everyone's light and gather it here. A brilliant aura enveloped him. He kicked off the ground and charged forward, cutting through the wind. In a split second, Leon closed in on Hasmon and slashed him. They engaged in close-quarters combat in midair. Fierce attacks were unleashed back and forth, but they were evenly matched, neither willing to yield. The heroes down below dropped their jaws in utter amazement watching this combat spectacle. Hasmon decided to end everything right here, gathering powerful magic in his hands. The ground began to shake violently. He hoisted an entire chunk of land high up into the air to use as a weapon. The next second, he hurled the massive chunk of earth downward with all his might. It hurtled swiftly toward Leon. Leon's sword was seen being raised up. A razor-sharp slash was unleashed. That slash shook the entire space, sweeping away everything in its path. It rushed straight toward Hasmon without a shred of mercy. Hasmon couldn't react in time and stood frozen stiff. Then he managed to block the attack head-on. Sensing death looming close, Hasmon wailed pleadingly, Envoy of the Abyss, grant me salvation. A teleportation portal materialized behind Hasmon. He slowly stepped into it, not forgetting to thank the envoy Casey and issue a threat to Leon that things were far from over. On this side, Leon stood watching the tremors slowly fade away. The heroes also stared in blank astonishment. Then the light of the moon gradually emerged. People shouted in joyful cheers that the erosion was disappearing, returning to normal as the corrupted land was purified. Leon spoke up at that moment. The lick has escaped, but we have reclaimed the territory stolen by the erosion. He smiled and declared, we won. Everyone cheered wildly in joy as the system screen popped up showing mission completion, plus 20 affinity with Leon, and a massive amount of EXP awarded to the entire subjugation army. Leon muttered to himself as the erosion curse was lifted from this region, allowing even more heroes to enter Arsalan. Main quest triggered. The conspiracy of erosion through the expanding Arsalan gate. fighting against erosion and uncovering the dark conspiracy lurking in the shadows alongside a new generation of heroes. Following that came an announcement from FS Game calling for a second participation batch from heroes. Everyone scrambled to secure a slot for themselves. On this end, Tia marveled that she never expected the heroes to take down the troll, nodding they were growing at a terrifying speed. Then she opened the notebook containing the script she had prepared for them. Next up was plunging them into crushing despair and shattering their spirits. That was an absolute necessity. Tia's smile grew increasingly unhinged. Now then, who's the next NPC? With the pre-order for Soul Link's second batch, foreigners from all over the world flocked to Korea since the pre-order was exclusive to the country. A globally famous pop star abruptly canceled all schedules and announced a long-term stay in Korea. A globally renowned businessman was spotted heading to Incheon Airport. A legendary investor famous for charging 3 billion won for a single business dinner was even discovered camping outside a hamburger joint opposite the FS Game headquarters. Inside a restaurant, a reporter asked the businessman across from him, "Mr. Ryan Belfort, why are you wasting your time like this?" Responding to that, Ryan answered honestly, "Wasting it? I'm investing my time. My money means nothing to that young man Lee Jinwoo. The only thing I have left to invest is a fraction of my remaining time." The reporter asked with some surprise, "Is talking to him really worth that much?" Ryan's expression grew serious. "The value of a second life cannot be measured with money. FS Game will become the center of a new world order." However, he still hadn't gotten the chance to meet Lee Jinwoo. Cutting to inside the company's conference room, the manager spoke up. "We have 1 hour left before server maintenance begins. Avent Square is packed to the brim, boss. The moment maintenance starts, they won't be able to log in for a whole week. That really proves how much they miss this place." Hearing this, Jinwoo smiled happily. "Everyone has worked extremely hard throughout the early access period. Special rewards will be distributed today. I look forward to continuing to work together with all of you from now on. I'll leave the shutdown procedures to you, manager. I need to head to the research lab." The manager hastily accepted the order. "Yes, boss, leave it to me." At the same time in Avent Square, all the NPCs gathered to bid farewell to the heroes. A female swordsman walked up to greet him. "Ms. Heine, I've reached level 13. Hearing that, Heine let out a sigh. "You still have a long way ahead of you. Keep training. It's pathetic that you still can't execute basic sword techniques accurately at this level." Her reprimand not only failed to upset the other person, but actually made her joyful. "Oh my God, I got scolded by Ms. Heine." In another corner, the Saintess was surrounded by many players. "Saintess, can I visit the church next time?" The young maiden grew flustered. "Huh, the church isn't a place just to come play. But if that is your wish, hero, I'll be more than happy to." Her breathing grew somewhat hurried as she spoke, her eyes gradually turning into heart shapes, driving the players nearly crazy. "I'm going to miss the Saintess day and night." In another corner, some players were grilling meat. "Try this, Ms. Tia. Taste this piece, Ms. Tia. Have you ever heard of this? 5-pot pork belly? No, it's grilled on a shield." Hearing that, Tia picked up a piece with her chopsticks. "It smells so good. Let me try." The moment she tasted the first bite, she couldn't help but smack her lips. "Oh my God, I've never tasted anything this good in Avent before. Crispy on the outside, moist and tender on the inside. It's clearly just grilled pork, yet the flavor is this rich." In another corner, Jinwoo had also arrived at the square through the avatar of the hero Leon. The bustling scene took him by surprise. When the remaining players spotted him, they cheered in welcome. "Lord Leon is here." The male lead walked toward them and greeted them. "Heroes, all of you fought very bravely in the goblin subjugation. But now the time has come for us to part ways temporarily." His words brought the players to the verge of tears. "Lord Leon, don't forget about us. Please remember us. We'll be back before you even realize it." Leon comforted them. "Dry those tears, heroes. I told you there wouldn't be a data wipe after early access ended. You're simply returning to your everyday lives for a short period. This isn't a permanent goodbye. How could I ever forget the precious memories we shared together with the heroes? I'll remember everyone's smallest habits." Only upon hearing these words did the players stop crying and start sharing contact info with one another. "I sent a friend request. Let's form a party when the game officially launches. I'll reach out the second I log in. Wait, how am I supposed to survive a whole week until then? I don't want to log out." Jinwoo wrapped it up. "All right, well then, everyone. I'll be waiting for your return." Right after his words, all the players suddenly vanished from the square as they were forcefully logged out. Tia's group fell into a brief silence. Then she stretched comfortably. "Gosh, it's so quiet. It feels kind of strange. Things have always been like this before, though." Heine nodded in agreement. Maybe even we've started getting used to all that noise and bustle. Jinwoo stepped forward to remind everyone. Good. Now let's get some real rest and sort things out. We still have a lot of preparations to make. Right then, Tiras spoke up. Master, the Magic Tower's resources were running much lower than expected earlier. We need an urgent replenishment. Jinwoo was somewhat surprised by this info. What? We're taking in at least 50,000 new players. Maintaining the current visual effect quality is going to be very tough. Tiras coldly reminded him. The subjugation battle pushed us to our limits. That's why we had to completely cut Lord Hallen's appearances. Jinwoo asked again, we need to resolve this within a week. Is there truly no other way? Tiras offered a solution. Actually, there is one way. If my calculations are correct, we can support up to 150,000 people. We need another mana stone to handle a scale like this. Unless we find a mana stone mine, there's no other way to get that much colossal mana. Before she could even finish, Jinwoo seemed to realize something. Wait, you don't mean Helvi, do you? Tiras immediately admitted. Yes, exactly that. The rest of the residents began objecting. What, Ms. Helvi? If we bring Helvi to Avent Village, everything will be solved. That's true, but Helvi, Malong Hela Violani Ursig, the enemy of the Golden, the calamity that descended to devour the Golden Arsalan, a grand entity that defied the goddess Ella and left behind countless legends across Arsalan. Just mentioning her name would incur a curse and strip away all one's assets. She used to be the ultimate enemy, banned from being destroyed for Arsalan's safety. But now she was merely a dragon wounded by destruction, living in isolation. Spreading destruction while losing her former greatness and authority, reduced to an ordinary creature. Helvi was basically a walking magic tower. She possessed even more mana than him, and her processing speed wasn't something a mere human could match. From behind, Hasman chimed in with his input. Avent Village itself needs to be reorganized. With the number of heroes arriving growing day by day, we need a complete overhaul of the existing facilities. But doing that will consume a massive amount of mana. Contrasting with their worries, Tia suddenly let out a few wicked chuckles. Hee. Instead of renovating everything, why don't we just destroy it all? First, we burn Avent Village to ashes and raise the whole place flat. Then we can let the heroes do quests to rebuild everything afterwards. Both Jinwoo and the others turned to look at Tia with shocked expressions. Tia began showing her unhinged side. Avent Village, filled with such precious memories, turning to ashes right before their eyes. The heroes will definitely cry rivers of tears in despair. The thrill will be even greater if a few villagers in Avent lose their lives. For instance, what if Ms. Heine bites the dust? Or what if I fight to my last breath defending the Adventurers Guild and sacrifice myself? And then we pin all the blame on destruction. The more she spoke, the more excited she got, terrifying even Heine. However, Tiras seemed somewhat agreeable to the idea. We absolutely need Ms. Helvi's help to pull off a script like that. Jinwoo began pondering the proposal. I wonder if she'd agree, but I suppose I should go see her just to be sure. Tiras didn't forget to remind him, and please use Leon's appearance when you go there. Jinwoo startled. What? This body isn't enough to face Helvi. Go find the combat body. I prepared in advance for fighting Helvi. Responding to that, Tiras refused with a brilliantly radiant smile. No, you'll definitely be fine. Not long after, Jinwoo arrived before the cave where Helvi resided. She said that, which is why I had to come here looking like Leon. Still, if things get dangerous, I can always run away. And by the way, how many layers of magical barriers are here? From what I can see, they're still heavily reinforced, though they wouldn't be able to stop destruction from pouring in anyway. With that thought, Jinwoo stepped right through the barrier. Inside was a cave, with countless crystals growing haphazardly everywhere. The master of this place seemed to have caught the scent of a human stepping inside. Jinwoo forced an awkward smile. Hello, Helvi. Helvi propped herself up, stared at Jinwoo, and snarled. That disgusting mage, you actually dare show your face here. You've got some nerve coming to find me all by yourself. Seeing her grow somewhat angry, Jinwoo hastily reassured her. Hold on, I came here because I have something to say. But Helvi didn't give Jinwoo a chance to speak. Shut your mouth. I'll tear that disgusting body of yours into 100 pieces. As she spoke, she widened her maw and charged straight at Jinwoo. The pressure radiating from that giant dragon body made Jinwoo grit his teeth and curse. Damn it, I knew this would happen. No choice, I'll just have to hit back with equal force. Saying that, Jinwoo gripped his sword hilt tightly. Meanwhile, Helvi roared with murderous intent. That arrogant face, today, finally. Mid-sentence, Helvi's eyes suddenly flew wide open, as she laid eyes upon the handsome face of the character Leon. Instantly, all of Helvi's murderous aura completely vanished. She slowly shifted into her human form and spoke gently. "You said you had something to say, right? Well, this form makes talking a lot easier." She fully transformed into her human guise, as a young black-haired girl. The astonishing shift in attitude left Jinwoo completely dazed, not understanding what was happening. Helvi walked over to him gently and invited him. "Consider it an honor. I'll allow you to gaze upon this most beautiful moment of mine." Seeing that she didn't seem to want to fight anymore, Jinwoo also withdrew his sword and didn't forget to compliment her. "Impressive, transforming into a human form so perfectly, even though you still have that long tail," Hela still said with utmost confidence and arrogance. "That's just child's play to a grand existence like me." The male lead asked with a hint of worry, "Shouldn't you hate humans very much?" In response to his words, Hela bluntly shared, "I only despise ugly things and most humans are disgusting. So consider it an honor that a human is allowed to speak to me in this form. All right, follow me. We will talk more inside." As she spoke, she turned around to lead the way, while Jinwoo still felt a bit surprised by this attitude. She's gotten a lot more polite. Normally, she wouldn't say more than 2 words before blowing this entire area into tiny fragments. Not long after, the two of them walked down a hallway, and the strange thing was that countless human stone statues stood on both sides. This made Jinwoo somewhat confused. "You really have a lot of statues here. Your aesthetic taste is unexpectedly refined." However, as soon as he said that, his eyes widened as if he had just thought of something. "Wait, they aren't actually statues, are they?" Hela turned back and smiled playfully. "If I remember correctly, that man over there was the Pope. Humans are always ambitious for things beyond their station. He sought eternal life, something Ella had never granted. So I gave him a trial, truly remake the hearts of 10 kind-hearted people. That Pope obediently did good deeds, even offering up his precious treasures in his desperate effort. But no one chose to follow him. Who would follow a Pope who abandoned his teachings just out of greed to live forever? And so everything he owned became mine. This temple was also reclaimed at that time, along with all the belongings of the heroes of Arsalan." Hearing this, Jinwoo could only sigh inwardly. They turned to stone because they failed the task she gave them, truly worthy of a great dragon confronting Ella. Unaware of Jinwoo's inner thoughts, Hela continued, "Completely vile creatures. I have spent my whole life just proving that simple truth." Jinwoo smiled and chimed in, "That's a very profound story. Thank you for sharing." However, that smile made Hela's face flush red, and she flusteredly said, "What do you even know to speak with such a casual tone? If you have something to say, spit it out." Hearing this, Jinwoo didn't say much and hurriedly sat down. "Recently, I awakened as a transcendent, and I summoned a hero to save Arsalan from the destruction using that power. But some issues have arisen, so I hope you can lend me a hand." Hela's gaze began to shift, and she asked seriously, "A hero? Do you think a mere puny hero can save Arsalan? Hey, immortal archmage, you witnessed that horror yourself. When Ella disappeared, countless mythological creatures fell into corruption and became slaves of destruction. Even you couldn't find a way out, having to die thousands or even tens of thousands of times to resist. Yet you truly believe a pathetic hero will save Arsalan." The main character wasn't surprised by her attitude, thinking to himself, "She has also slowly withered away in despair, dying in excruciating pain. She had no choice but to cower in fear before the impending hell. Hela is a completely isolated existence even within Arsalan. How long did she have to endure before being swallowed up and corrupted by the destruction? This must feel like it lasts for eternity." Thinking that, he spoke up, "You might not realize it, but everything is still going very well so far, so please help me." Seeing his pleading attitude, Hela fell silent. This archmage has always carried that look in his eyes. Even when running away from the destruction pathetically, he still stood facing me, facing the destruction with those very eyes, as if telling me it was just a test he could overcome. That bugs me to no end, something I will never be able to possess. Perhaps he has kept it inside himself for a long time. I wanted to crush this archmage long before the destruction could do it. I wanted to prove that he was no different from me, that those who keep fighting in despair and those who run away ultimately end up the exact same. So if the plan he is so confident in fails, he will completely collapse in despair, right? I'm only helping to witness that moment, and it has nothing to do with his handsome face." As if convincing herself, Hela coughed a few times. "Then, Archmage, let's make a bet. It's very simple. I will put your hero through ruthless trials and utter despair to test him, and I will see with my own eyes whether he can overcome it. If I win, you will become my slave. If you win, I will do whatever you ask. On the other side, Jin Woo began to ponder. Let me think. Modifying the plot's upcoming hero trials this way might not actually be a bad idea. I'll need to adjust quite a few things, but Tia will handle it anyway. Besides, she will practically become an automated quest generation machine. Currently, quests are assigned through the Adventurers Guild or NPCs, but I feel they lack variety and quality. Since this is reality and not a game, there are limits to creating quests. No matter how much players praise the ultimate realism, to me it just looks like a patchwork mess. This is what I want to rework before the official release. Over here, Hella confidently said, if your hero dies during the test, then so be it. After all, a weak hero like that could never overcome the destruction. If you still agree to that, before she could finish speaking, Jin Woo agreed immediately. Sounds reasonable. Hella's expression changed, and she looked at Jin Woo with a gaze full of incomprehension. What do you mean it sounds reasonable? You're accepting a meaningless trade just after awakening to summon your hero, Jin Woo repeated. That's right. The Dragon Lady's gaze turned vacant. He actually agreed to that. Then you won't mind if we draw up a contract, right? Of course, go ahead. Jin Woo has no problem with it. Make yourself at home. So the lady strained herself, snapped her fingers to produce a contract, and handed it to Jin Woo. Here, read it and sign. Inside the contract, it was written. Great Dragon Hella Violani Ursig, hereinafter referred to as the Great Dragon, and the Immortal Archmage, hereinafter referred to as the Archmage, hereby enter into the following contract. 1. The hero must accept the Great Dragon's test. Surviving the trial process is entirely the responsibility of the Archmage and the hero. 2. The hero must prove their worth through the trial from the Great Dragon. The content of the trial may include extremely absurd elements, as long as it does not exceed the hero's capabilities. 3. If the Great Dragon wins, the Archmage will become the Great Dragon's slave. On the other hand, if the Archmage wins, the Great Dragon must strictly obey the Archmage. This term is permanent and cannot be revoked under any circumstances, for the above terms must be executed immediately without any delay. All intentional time-wasting behaviors are strictly prohibited. Jin Woo glanced at the contract for a moment and asked, what if there is more than one hero? Hella didn't think much and agreed. Whether it's 2 or 3, I will put each of them through a trial without exception. Don't even think about hiding some weak hero. Then in her heart, she was extremely confident. In the distant past, Ella also summoned heroes. Even when a massive amount of light and power was concentrated, seeding more than 3 was impossible. No matter how talented you are, that will definitely be your limit. Jin Woo raised his head and asked further. Then I want to clarify the win and loss conditions a bit more. Hella, the trial must last until the hero's will to fight against the destruction completely shatters. As long as there is at least one hero who refuses to give up, I will not consider you to have failed. In return, I will decide all the details as well as the duration of the test. Depending on the actual situation, the number of trials may also increase. When Jin Woo asked back about his own winning conditions, Hella stated, if I judge that the hero is capable of saving Arsalan through the trial, you win. Jin Woo asked, so you'll decide everything however you like? The lady smiled. If they are heroes worthy of saving Arsalan from destruction, shouldn't they be able to overcome at least that much? Why not drop that arrogant look and back down while you still have a chance? Serve us for a week and I'll cancel this contract for you. However, contrary to her thoughts, the main character signed it without a single shred of hesitation. This caused her to slam the table and shout loudly, wait, not a single shred of hesitation. Jin Woo handed the contract back and said, as long as it can save Arsalan. Although slightly surprised, Hella managed a forced laugh. Ha ha, you're going to regret today's decision for the rest of your life. Anyway, the contract and pact have been signed. I will make you bow down to me forever after. I'll be magnanimous and make you my lover. No, my pet, now introduce yourself to me. Ha ha. All right, Archmage, you're about to become my pet. So where is that hero? I'll hand out the math test right now. Jin Woo replied. They will arrive here within a week, Hella declared. Then this will be your last week to enjoy your freedom. However, before she could enjoy herself for more than a few sentences, Jin Woo reminded her. Ah, that's right. There's one thing I should mention in advance. I happen to possess a rather large number of heroes. Over here, Hella was still very confident. At most, it's just 3, right? According to the contract, I will bestow the most horrifying test upon each and every one of them. Jin Woo looked at her with a slightly disdainful gaze. 3. At least you guessed the first digit right. An ominous hunch appeared in Hella's mind. What nonsense are you talking about? Jin Woo smiled. It's not 3 people, it's 3,000 people. This statement startled Hela. What, 3,000? Well, that might sound like a bit much, but it's still completely under my control. It might take a little time, but surely in the end, all of them will just shatter. Her confidence was shattered once more when Jinwoo said, truly a powerful great dragon. But in a week, that number will increase to 50,000 people. This number truly made it impossible for Hela to keep her composure anymore. 50,000 people. Are you lying? Are you making things up? Even Ella could only summon 3. How could you possibly? She spoke tremblingly. However, Jinwoo just smiled. I can summon even more if I really try. If things go smoothly and we recover the magic stone mine, 1,000,000 people will be easy too. 1,000,000? Can such a thing actually happen? Hela screamed. Jinwoo waved goodbye. Anyway, my original goal was millions of people, and hundreds of millions would be even better. So see you in a week. Hela could only cry out with her hands stretched forward, filled with regret in her heart. What on earth have I done? She hesitantly spoke up. Hey, Archmage, can't we just call it a draw? Jinwoo turned back to her with a radiant smile. Even if I wanted to, the contract clearly states it cannot be revoked. This is truly a flawless contract, truly worthy of the reputation of the great dragon Hela Violani Ursig. Ah, just a reminder, you do know that heroes from other worlds will continue to revive even when they die, right? From now on, you'll have to work very hard to come up with tests, so get some good rest. This kind reminder turned her face pale and sweat poured down like a stream. I'm totally trapped. That was the moment when the subjugation of the great dragon, something no one had ever accomplished before, succeeded brilliantly. Jinwoo obtained the SSS rank Quest Generation engine. Jinwoo obtained the SSS rank Future Mana engine.